Hello, we're live.
Hello, party people.
Welcome to Lorebeards Warhammer 40k in the grim darkness of the far future.
There is only lore.
That's right. Woo!
Hell yeah.
So today we've got a wild topic today.
Yes. This one I'm excited about because a lot of people are going to think that we're only going to talk about like the year 40. There were so many other things that we can add into this.
Yeah, Alexis, what is today's topic?
So today's topic is, what if the Emperor died? Like, dead, disappeared, obliterated, or any other various death in 40k that might take him.
So I think for the purposes of this discussion, we have to say the Emperor is dead. Not only dead, but so dead that he's not getting back up.
He's not resurrecting.
He can't be replaced.
Yep.
All that stuff. I think we have to say when he's gone, he is capital G gone.
Yeah.
So what if the Emperor died? Go ahead, please.
Is this working over on Okay, it is working over on Twitch. I had to refresh the page. I just wanted to make sure it was. This way I can make sure to get all your super chat guys. There we go. I got this. I promise. I am a professional, in fact, at everything in the history of forever.
So to be clear, this is only our second show. So there's a good chance that we might screw something up because we're humans. We like to screw things up. I have screwed up many things in my career. I am
absolutely perfection incarnate. In fact, I am so perfect that, I've been marked by the god of perfection.
Wow. That is definitely perfect. So today we're the whole story of today's show is, what if the Emperor died? And I mean gone. So the first thing Alexis wanted to talk about is context, right? Like, you can't just say what if the Emperor died? We have to kind of break it down a little bit. Like, what if he died when? Right? Yeah. Like, that's the first place to start, is like, when did he die? And extrapolate from there.
So I gotta try to control V something really quickly because I'm just stealing Sotek's stuff.
we are totally riding on Sotek's coattails right now, where he's like,
"Yep,
guys, you got this," and we're like, "We're not sure that we do actually, but okay,
So I think we should start off at the very, very beginning of 40k's lore. Okay, maybe go a little bit past the War in Heaven to when the Emperor was actually born. So the shamans that that summoned the Emperor, and we're just going to skip all of that hoopla and just say the Emperor started his unification wars. Yeah, I think this is the best spot to start at. What if the Emperor, after witnessing the first murder, was then killed? Just flat out killed.
During the unification wars. So yes. So we're talking, this is just before the Great Crusade.
Just before the Great Crusade. Let's say that at this point he's met Erda, he's met Astarte, and he started creating his Primarchs.
No. Well, okay, so Primarch Project cannot proceed without the Emperor. So to be really clear.
Yeah, no, it didn't start yet. So those characters exist, but they haven't done their part yet.
Primarch Project technically is right at the end of the...
Sorry, that was...
Yeah,
I had that in a PowerPoint for part 2, and I just misread it.
Essentially, the Primarch Project kind of represents the transition point between the Unification Wars and the Great Crusade. So pre-Primarch Project, the Emperor dies. So if Earth is unified, and I think or in the process of being unified.
Are we talking unification like completely, or are we talking have they unified with Mars yet? Because that's right after the unification, isn't it?
So okay, so the Unification Wars is the Unification Wars is not just Earth; it's actually the whole solar system. And the Treaty of Mons Olympus is a big. It's essentially it is one of the things that marks the end of the Unification Wars. It's like, yeah, we've basically got Earth. Because you can't go to Mars and say, well, I don't have Earth yet. I need you to get Earth. They won't be happy about that. The Emperor goes to Mars saying, I have Earth. Earth is done. I need you to help me get the solar system. And then once we have the solar system, it's off to the races. So if the Unification Wars is the era in which the Emperor dies, you actually have some really interesting follow-on effects. So first of all, Mars and Earth would have some serious issues.
Given they would not be getting along.
Second of all, we wouldn't have Space Marines. We'd have Thunder Warriors. Shitloads of Thunder Warriors.
Oh yeah, they wouldn't have been put to death at this point.
Well, they get put to death not far after the Unification Wars. The Dark Angels.
The Dark Angels, and
it's in legend. Like a lot of it is said to be this and said to be that. We know it happens somewhere.
It's the First Legion that does it. Come on, we know this.
Well, my theory is that the Dark Angels did it, certainly, but is that known? We're guessing on a lot of this with the death of the Thunder Warriors, but
we do know that Astarte did start the revolution with them, and then because that's in Master of Mankind.
Okay, so the point being is if the Emperor dies, the Great Crusade doesn't start without the Emperor. First of all, Earth in the solar system is basically it for humanity. At least as we know it in 40K. Like the Interrex is still out there somewhere. You've got little pockets of civilization, but 40K would look vastly different to anyone looking in from the inside because there wouldn't be any Space Marines, there wouldn't be an Imperium, there'd just be. I mean, the Mechanicum might eventually manage to
that's what I think would happen. The Mechanicum would then conquer Earth.
Ooh, I don't know if they care, honestly.
Well, I think they would try to so I think what would happen is Terror would sit there for hundreds of years until they started sending envoys back and forth, because the Martians would want to get back established with the techno-barbarians to get their technology.
I'm sure there's no reason they wouldn't have communications, but it would basically nip the Imperium in the bud. You're talking about the Imperium's gone, everything it's Wild West from here on out.
Yeah, I think what would wind up happening is we would see a whole bunch of small communities open up until they're eventually obliterated by either the orcs. I don't think the Necrons would actually have sufficient numbers to trigger their awakening protocols at this point.
The Necrons are thousands of years old.
Yeah, exactly. They're not coming back.
Don't worry about the Necrons are not going to be a problem for anyone living during the Unification Wars.
Some other races might. Oh, what's the race of aliens from the first Heresy book? They're super advanced. They have an emperor by themselves.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I cannot remember them. They use star bows, and it's actually they're.
Okay, you're thinking the Interrex with the star bows.
The Interrex have the star bows, and then the ones that have this super cool technology in the first Heresy book, where they're just killed. Because the Interrex are the ones that fight against Horus later on.
They're the first ones that talk about chaos, and Erebus steals the FMA, and anyway, it's a whole thing. But there's really, I hate to say this, in Alexis, but I don't know if there's too much really to chew on about the Emperor dying during Unification, because it just destroys everything else.
Hear me out.
All right, please proceed.
All right, I think it would be very much an AdMech / Mechanicus dream, because all of Mars would be fully unified at this point, and we would have them going out doing essentially the Great Crusade, but it would be explorator fleets because that's what they did, and it would just be them trying to reclaim their lost worlds. They wouldn't care too much about the human worlds. They would just leave them to doing what they were, but they would probably just establish trade routes with them. But I do think ultimately, with the coming of the almost beast that fights the Emperor and Horus, I think that might be where that universe ends. So,
just to be clear, the Mechanicum would definitely reach out to human worlds because they need resources and people.
Yeah, they need the bodies.
Right, and it shouldn't be forgotten that one of the major things about the Mechanicum is that they have scattered colonies and forge worlds and night worlds. It's all that stuff is out there. Mars just hasn't reached out to them. They haven't gotten back in touch with them. part of the reason they joined up. Part of the reason Mars joined up with the Great Crusade, one of the things they were really excited about the Great Crusade was they were like, now we can go find all of our far-flung lost brothers, out there amongst the stars. So the Mechanicum would have very big reasons to launch a Great Crusade.
Great Crusade. It'd be more like a Great Collection.
Yeah, they wouldn't be as interested in conquering as the Emperor was.
Yeah. Oh, guys, if you want to ask us questions during this, the best way to do that is super chat, so we could just put them aside. We're going to bulk up a couple of them, and then we're going to read through those questions and go. Yeah, we're going to go ham on them.
Here's a comment for you, though, right there.
Yeah, I see that, and yes, you will. It'll take you thousands of years, but you'll do it eventually.
Neoth, oh sweet lord.
Oh,
brother, this is all about Erda and Neoth being the Emperor's name, and that, so we don't know if that's all very legendary, secondhand, unreliable narrator. I
still love that basically the Emperor's name is so common that it's John.
Well, Neoth is not far off from Neo, so
yeah, exactly.
Let me make sure. So this guy says, Jake Wu 8268 says, so much Lorebeards lately. Yes.
Yep.
We're back. Lorebeards is back, and it has a new channel, and that's me and Alexis. In case you don't know who we are, you can go check our first episode. We have a pretty good introduction there. But the short version is I am a game designer and author who's worked on a whole bunch of 40K projects and video games. Alexis is a very celebrated cosplayer and model painter, and really very competitive in the grand tournaments in Iceland. So,
yeah, I am.
So she's great in all those things. I'm great at the things I'm great at. Together we make an unbeatable team.
Speaking of, this Sunday I have a tournament, and I'm bringing Ultramarines because those new Victress Guard are really powerful.
This guy says, Michael Texiera says 5319. Damn, I would love a novel on the new Unification Wars. Me too.
Oh my God, yes. I want some Thunder Warrior characters. I want them to be these tragic heroes, like, who are just rage-filled maniacs. But I think at this point, do you agree that you think that the orcs would be the ones that eventually conquer the galaxy at that point?
Well, there wouldn't be much left to stop them. Because the Eldar aren't up to it. Necrons aren't awake, except for the few exceptions.
Tyranids are currently fighting
thousands of years off.
Well, at this point, they are. Let's put this out there. They are currently fighting the Silent King right outside the galaxy for 10,000 years. I hate that lore.
Well, suffice to say, if the Imperium doesn't fill the gap, someone else will, and the orcs are the best ones positioned to do that. It would be a green galaxy.
Yeah. Which, do you think it would be stronger?
Well, for a certain value of strength, certainly. In other ways, no, absolutely not. So
yeah, because like orcs need an enemy. Like they wouldn't just destroy humanity. They would destroy Terra, they would destroy Mars, and then be like, all right, come on, guys, build an empire.
Do the thing. Orcs would just fight themselves. It wouldn't be much of an empire.
Yeah, if not that, they would fly outside the galaxy and fight the Tyranids after a while.
We're talking massive speculation. I'd actually like to shift the topic a little bit. What if the Emperor died during the Great Crusade? And I'm not saying beginning or end. I'm saying middle of the Great Crusade.
Middle of the Great Crusade. Okay.
Like right after the triumphant Eleanor, instead of going home, he just dies.
I also have one that I want to add. We'll talk about yours first, obviously. What if Erda just killed the Emperor?
I mean,
we're speculating that she could at this point. We're saying that
she could.
Yeah. But let's go with yours first. Middle of the Great Crusade. So this is, are we talking before or after he decided to go, I'm not going to tell you guys that I'm going to go build an Eldar Webway gate on Terra?
So that moment happens right after the Triumph of Eleanor. It is at the Triumph of Eleanor where the Emperor tells Horus, you're the War Master and I'm going back to Earth.
Yeah. So are we saying he died before or after that, or right after it?
I'm saying I'm saying he doesn't get a chance to declare Emperor Horus the War Master.
Oh, okay. I like this. I like this a lot.
So it's business as usual in the Great Crusade, and then the Emperor's dead. He dies on Eleanor. Horus didn't save him. There's an orc war boss there, Urlag. I forget his name, but Urlag he's immense. He's like Titan sized.
Yeah, he's a Primarch at this point, like from one of the Beast Arises books, basically.
Well,
maybe not on that level, but he is very strong.
He's the strongest known orc warlord.
Yeah,
and as you know,
I would argue that there is a stronger one, but you know,
no, I don't think so, because if you remember,
Tuska the Demon Killer.
So this guy, this Urlag, not only almost kills the Emperor, he almost kills Horus at the same time while they're surrounded by Custodes. This dude is a severe, serious badass. And the Emperor is no joke. Horus is no joke. The Custodes, and by the way, Costi Valdor is there. None of that is a joke, and he just rips through them. So Urlag is, by all accounts, one of the largest orcs ever, because the bigger you get, the stronger you get. And Urlag's empire, the Empire of Eleanor, was immense. It was big. Yeah. So he was probably at least Dreadnought, if not Titan size, as far as an orc.
I honestly think he has to be like Titan size, because he grabs the Emperor. Like, it doesn't say he grabs him around the neck. He grabs the Emperor and just starts strangling him.
Well, yeah. But I mean, so let's just say Urlag eats the Emperor, just devours him.
Oh, Jesus.
He's gone. Well, to put it mildly, the Great Crusade would be in disarray. The fledgling Imperium would be in disarray. They would no longer have, and this is going to be a constant thing we talk about from this point on, there would no longer be an Astronomicon. And without the Astronomicon, there's not really reliable space travel.
Here's a question for you, though. Is the Emperor both the person that we see and on the Astronomicon, or does he eventually go and sit on the Astronomicon?
Okay, so here's the fun fact. The Astronomicon existed during the Great Crusade, while the Emperor was off of Earth. He was such a strong psyker, so powerful was he at the height of his power, that he could actually go light years and light years and light years and light years away and still generate the beacon on Terra.
So I always had the theory that the Emperor that we see is actually just an avatar of him, and the old man that we constantly get referred to in like the Lion's newest book, Son of the Forest, in like the Siege of Terror books. I always viewed that like old man is the one actually sitting on the throne, and the projection that he makes is the Emperor.
Who knows? And there are quite a few references to the fact that people see the Emperor differently.
Oh yeah.
So the Babylon 5 Vorlon effect, you know, we all see him as some kind of divine, or
and all of it can be true at the same time too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So imagine you're a space marine in the Great Crusade, and you have been blitzing through compliance after compliance. You have fought 50 worlds in 5 years, right? As a space marine. And you are the absolute tip of the spear. You and your legion have been forging into the uncharted depths of space to reconnect with human homeworlds, cast off Xenos overlords, destroy fledgling alien forces that want to deal with humanity once and for all. You've been just kicking ass and taking names, and all of a sudden everything comes to a stop. Your sergeant comes to you one day. He's like, okay, we all got to meet. The Primarch's going to speak to us, and you all get in this big chamber where the Primarch shows up on a hollow screen from his flagship to all of the assembled ships of that particular expeditionary fleet. And the Primarch, in his inhumanly perfect voice, tells you, the Emperor, my father, is dead. That would put the brakes on the Great Crusade. However far the Great Crusade had gotten by the time of Eleanor, which is pretty far.
I just thought of something that would absolutely, the word bearers would absolutely be devastated.
Worse than Monarchia.
Yeah, because they hyped him up as being a god, and then he died. They might actually go full atheist.
I mean, so we could take it. We could take a legion by legion if you want.
Yeah, I think that's what we do. I
but
was like, let me get up a list of the legions so I don't forget any.
Well, in the grand scheme of things, so let's, before we specifically talk about the legions, in general, the Great Crusade, the expeditionary fleets would start to suffer major problems. And one of the major reasons why they would start to suffer major problems is because the Mechanicum would be incredibly dispirited. They
just lost their astronaut. They just lost the Omnissiah.
They lost the Omnissiah, and they put all of their hopes and dreams on this Great Crusade to go back and rebuild them to a level where they once had been. So the Mechanicum is going to be probably pulling back. I imagine the Mechanicum would be like, no. We're without this guy, we need to come back and think of a new plan.
Yep.
I think the army, which is the ships and the guys, and
the Imperial Army,
the massive force that is the Imperial Army, they would probably start wondering what the hell to do, because again, with no Astronomicon,
they can't really travel.
Now the thing about, they
can't travel long distance.
They can, yeah. It's just it's complicated to go any further than short jumps. But the expeditionary fleets would have one big advantage over any other scenario that we get into. Okay, so during the Great Crusade, they had ships going off on their own. They did, but by and large, things traveled in big packs. They had a expeditionary fleet, a convoy that would go do all their different things. So these convoys would be in a much better position to support each other and figure out what they're going to do.
That's true.
So the Great Crusade is actually like one of the least bad places for this to happen.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the Primarchs go, they would be deeply dispirited. I think Kurz would be the most concerned, because he'd be like, I didn't see this coming.
Kurz and Sanguinius.
Yeah, to a lesser extent, Sanguinius. But Kurz would be like, what does this mean? All the visions I've had of the future, none of them included
are just wrong.
Yeah. Holy shit. Yeah.
So I think we do have to go through the legions, but I think there might be two that butt heads the most. And that would be, I'm assuming at this point, Horus is the one that destroys the Primarch, the Orc.
Probably. I think we can assume that Horus survives, at least survives. Maybe not victorious, but survives.
Like him and the 10,000 fight, and a lot of them are destroyed. A lot of his forces are destroyed, but they do win. Do they recover the Emperor's body?
I mean, that's an interesting question. But I think before we get into that,
let's get some super chats.
Good thinking. I like the way you're picking up what I'm sending.
Yeah.
My psychic powers are working. So Kurenshima 3912 says, by the way, thank you, sir. How did they traverse the warp before the Astronomicon? Question mark.
There's a whole movie about it.
What if they can figure out a way to do it now without Astronomicon? Can they remove Big E from the throne so he can slowly regenerate? So ships traveling before the Astronomicon, they used largely depended on a lot of things. If it was a Dark Age technology, they had, counts as magic tech. They could just do it. And to be clear, humanity did spread out in the Age of Strife. Humanity spread out all across the galaxy. We had planets every fucking where. How did we get there? What ships did we use? All that stuff has been forgotten or lost or doesn't exist anymore or was destroyed.
And even if it does exist, the AdMech have kept that so secret that they're never releasing it.
So the answer to your question is, how do they traverse the warp before the Astronomicon? It depends. It depends a lot on who and what and how and when and why. I can tell you that even without the Astronomicon, you can make short jumps through the warp. We're talking a few light years at a time. The example I like to give is imagine the Age of Sail, or even like the early days of exploration when the Vikings were out, like going to North America and other places. Those guys didn't have compasses. They didn't have sextants. They were navigating by the stars, but not they were kind of navigating by the stars.
They did have a compass.
Okay, well,
yeah, that's again Viking stuff. I had to learn this,
but
primitive.
At some point in their history, they didn't have a compass.
Yes.
So imagine those guys, specifically those guys, no compass, no sextant, just barely using the stars, sailing out into the ocean in those days was considered a death sentence. It was difficult by far to make a long voyage. Shore voyages, you could do. You could stick close to the shore, you could come in at night. But if you were trying to go out of sight of land, you are more likely going to die than succeed. Okay. And that's what warp travel is like without the Astronomica. Can you do it? Yes. Is it extremely hazardous? Yes. Is it possible that people can reach their destination no matter how far away? Sure, it happens, but it's like 1 out of 1,000, 1 out of 1,000,000. It is extremely rare to see that succeed. So that's the answer to that first part. What if they figure out a way to do it now without Astronomica? And could they remove the big A from the throne so you could slowly regenerate?
That's a whole question on whether or not the Emperor actually regenerates.
Yeah, there's a lot there. I'm gonna say a really interesting idea though, that solving the Astronomican problem does fix a lot of issues with the Emperor and his place in the setting. So
yep.
Thank you for bringing that up. Let's go to the next one.
Alrighty.
Gary Gerenson, to stop me if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. Thank you, sir.
No idea.
Good evening. Do you know of Peter Fehivari? I don't. Alexis? Sorry, I'm not. What do you think of the Dark Coil stories? You must be an author, I guess.
Oh, I know of these stories and I've been recommended them. I have not read them.
So for me, 40K has always worked best as horror. Well, horror is certainly an element.
I wish they would do more horror books for 40K. There's so many things that they could do. Just a demon stalking somebody for an entire book would be amazing. And just corrupting the people around him. Oh, that would be so good.
Horror absolutely has a place with 40K. I totally agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I have not read these stories, but I will look into them. Thank you. And let's go to the next one.
Alrighty. Hey, this one's from Victor.
Hi, hey. Victor. Victor says, by the way, thank you, Victor. We have an interesting test case with the Noctis Eterna for an idea of what would happen if the Emperor died. In short, really bad. Good point. And Noctis Eterna, what he's talking about is the Aerondomitus, where the Cicatrix Maledictum, a warp storm, basically cuts the galaxy in half. One side cannot or can only barely see the Astronomicon, and that's called the Imperium Nihilus. And in the life in the Imperium Nihilus is pretty bad. And that's what he's talking about here.
Yes.
Okay, move on to the next one. Ricky Chapman, 3377. Thank you, sir. Trajan the Infinite is awake during the Crusade. He is. I believe that's true, yeah. But one guy, no matter how cool he is, and by the way, he's really fucking cool, one guy cannot really do that much about the Great Crusade.
It's also mentioned somewhere that the Necrons can't mess with certain parts of time, even though they do have time travel. There are certain things that they are forbidden from messing with, and the Emperor actually being alive is one of them. You cannot mess with that. It is set and has to happen. Also, they can't go back to the time before they were, Necrons. They can't go to when they were Necrotyr. They can't go too far into the future. And they can create like short pocket dimensions of time, which is really cool. There's a whole Warhammer Plus show about it.
So this guy, Professor Shapp, has a great comment here. He says, in this timeline, Trajan would be very sad he didn't get to collect the Emperor.
That could be one of the things that happened. He does collect the Emperor.
Well, probably, I don't think he'd be able to collect the Emperor, but I'm able to collect something from or of the Emperor. Who knows?
Yeah. It would be really funny, to be honest. Like, that would be the safest, that would be for the safest thing if he had him.
Is there any more? Here we go. Azur Shadow 88. Thank you, sir. Not sure if Beast beats Admech. Me neither. I don't know.
It's because they're not unified. I think that the Beast would beat them.
I mean, it's the Beast damn near beat the Space Marines. So
yeah.
Wouldn't Horus Beast grow less powerful? I'm assuming you're talking about Horus. Grow less powerful without a powerful opponent to challenge. Well, they're talking about the Orcs. I guess he's talking about the Orcs here.
Yeah.
So yeah, Orcs need tougher opponents to fight. If they can't find one, they will go fight themselves. So
yeah, but I don't think they ever lose power. I've never heard a story where an Orc got weaker
They generally die before they get to that point.
They just get huge and then die.
Well, Octarius War is a good example of what happens there, but who knows? Ricky Chapman, 3377. Thank you, sir. Isn't it the destruction of the Pharos device that draws in the bugs? The Pharos device. Yes, we're going to talk about the Pharos device.
It depends on which version of the Tyranids we're talking about.
So the Pharos device, for people who may not know what the Pharos device is, Pharos device is a Xenos artifact that the Imperium Secundus, Robute Gulliman and Xwinius and the Lion, they basically decide to create an alternative to the Astronomicon because there's this thing called the Ruin Storm, and it's cutting them off from the rest of the Imperium, and they don't know if the Emperor's alive or dead. They just don't know. So the Pharos device is this artifact can generate a signal that is very similar to the Astronomicon. However, it does seem to be drawing things in that are not just, it seems to be a signal that's not just being received by who they want it to be received by. It's being received by other things. Is the Pharos device what drew the Tyranids to our galaxy? We don't know for sure. It's certainly possible. It's certainly likely.
We do also know that the galaxy at the time did have Tyranids in it. They were just Yumgarled. So they were just bodies that weren't active at the time. They were hidden. We do also know that Gene Stealer cult-like things existed, but to say that they're a Gene Stealer cult is very much a meh. It's hinted at, but it's not confirmed. But there are like latent Tyranids that, if they awoke, could then build a Gene Stealer cult, which would then bring in the Tyranids anyway. So the Tyranids coming is kind of just a thing that would happen anyway. It would just take thousands of years.
I like where Ricky Chapman's head is at, though, because it is strongly hinted that the Pharos device was
a
bad idea.
I also like that the one Satan went to the outsider, went outside the galaxy and either got devoured by the Tyranids and then they just followed his trail, or is the hive mind and sent them as revenge against the galaxy. I love those two theories. I think they're fantastic.
We're going to do a whole show. If I have my way, we're going to do a whole show about theories and memes and fanon. Is fanon the term?
Oh my God. Can we skip the whole Celestine is a greater demon of the Emperor?
No, that has to be something we talk about.
I know. I hate it though.
All right, so sorry, let me read the super chat here. Stephen Lucas, 8836, thank you, sir. Michaela the Kind, fist fighting chair Skelly. I'm not sure what that's about. Reminded of Hey Arnold. I'm not familiar with that show. I know about it.
You need to watch that.
New Year's episode of wrestling match between baby versus old man. I am lost. I'm so sorry.
I am so confused. I know that saying fist fighting chair Skelly is the Emperor being a Skelly Bob on the Golden Throne.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who the other character is. I am so sorry. If you could properly explain this, we're dumb.
Yeah, sometimes we are dumb. Super Orlok. Hey, Super Orlok says, we know that Magnus was made to sit on the golden chair. That's certainly possible.
That is also a theory.
It's certainly possible.
Yes.
However, that's a theory that I think lends. There's a lot of weight for that one.
Oh yeah.
The plan, presumably now, is Operation Get Magnus to Terra. Yeah, Malkador would probably try and find a way to get that done.
Yes.
If the Emperor died on Olenor, Malkador's first thing would be like, okay, you take a big ass fleet and start making jumps toward Prospero. When you get there, get Magnus and bring him back. Could we have the burning of Prospero just in a totally different
It would
context?
be like the rescue. Because the Space Wolves are close. They would get called to go and tell them if they couldn't get in contact with Magnus to begin with. The Space Wolves and the Sisters of Silence might actually escort Magnus's fleet so that they can safely travel through the warp.
I mean, I need to check like one thing really quick. I just want to look at the...
Oh, but what I wanted to get at was I think that Lion at this point would take charge over Horus because Horus would be too emotional. I think Horus would be like completely devastated that his father died, where Lion would be like, okay, dad died. That sucks. Let's start fixing this.
Lion's very pragmatic at this point in time.
Yeah.
I did just double check, and the Council of Nicaea takes place after Eleanor. So if there's no council, if the Council of Nicaea has not been held, Magnus and his boys are still looked at with suspicion, but not outright like hatred.
Yeah, they're just like, hey, maybe don't have those magical creatures walking around you that are chattering to you.
Well, there's some really good reasons. I want to be super clear. There's very good reasons to be concerned about Magnus and his legion. And a lot of that has to do with what they saw during the Unification Wars. But let's move on. Thank you, Mr. Super Orlock. That was
that was all of the. Oh, let me get rid of that then. That was all of the super chats. We are currently caught up. I believe that was Super Orlock. Was the last? Oh, we got one more. Wait, is this? Yes, this is the last one, and then we can move on and then collect more, and then go from there with our next part of this.
Stephen Lucas, 8836. I remember you, sir. Is this before or after the lore black hole of the 3 Rangdan Xenocides? After.
Yep.
Eleanor takes place after the Rangdan Xenocides. So yeah, that would be after that. The 2 legions being redacted, yeah, it is hinted at that. We'll do a whole show on that.
We will. But right now we're not bringing up those 2 legions. Okay?
Yeah, we'll assume that they're already gone, because otherwise we'll spend too much time talking about who those might be.
They sacrifice themselves defeating the beast.
No, the beast comes way later.
I know, but I have to get away to get rid of them.
All right, so so we were talking about the Primarchs.
So I think Lion is currently telling the Primarchs what to do. They're going to start debating on whether or not who is in charge. And I honestly think Lion, being the most trusted, would be the one to just take charge along with Guilliman.
Okay, the problem with the Lion.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of problems with him.
Here's the thing. The Lion is not the most trusted. He's most trusted by the Emperor, specifically the Emperor.
Yes, strictly the Emperor.
Strictly the Emperor. His brothers do not trust him.
Not at all.
In fact, Lion is one of the least liked Primarchs.
Yep.
Not as bad as some of the ones we're going to talk about. Not as bad as Perturabo, for example. Purdy has no friends.
I feel so bad for Pro Turbo.
But the Lion has got the skills to lead, but he doesn't have the charm.
Yeah, weirdly enough, I think it might come back down to the 3. Lionel Johnson, Guilliman, and Sanguinius.
No, in my opinion. And I say this, I am a Horus Heresy lore master. I could tell you this is one of my areas that I excel at. In my opinion, if the Emperor died on Eleanor, the conversation would be between who's going to lead us. Is it going to be Horus or is it going to be Sanguinius?
Yeah, it would definitely be those 2. Because
Sanguinius is the most, him and Vulcan are the 2 most beloved Primarchs. Everybody likes Sanguinius. Even Mortarian's like, yeah, that guy's all right. But Horus is the first among equals and always has been.
Yeah.
It would be very difficult to not have Horus be in charge of the Primarchs after that. Just because he and his legion have been so successful to this point.
So then what I would say is they would want to listen to Lion, like take his advice in.
Sure, but I think we'd almost have to see a council.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely.
One of the Primarchs, probably Horus, would call a council, maybe right there on Eleanor, if they manage to win.
Oh, I just realized without the Emperor, they can't create more custodians.
No, they certainly can't.
Oh no. Oh no.
There's a lot of things that the Emperor is being gone is going to cause a shitload of problems.
Oh.
I think Ferrus Manus would probably be dispatched to get the Mechanicum in line.
Yep.
Because he's got good relations with them.
Hear me out. They would actually ask Perturabo to reinforce and take down like enemy strongholds. They might actually talk to him.
Horus might.
Yes.
If
Lion might. Lion didn't directly hate him.
No, but Lion, he doesn't. The Lion at this point in time is not that guy. He's so bad. He is not that guy. Sanguinius, Horus, Vulcan, Fulgrim would probably be like, okay, yeah, let's bring Purdy in from the cold. Let's talk to him. Let's see what he's got going on. Like all four of those guys would be interested to find out what's happening in his head and bring him back into the fold. Kurz and Angron though would probably just go off by themselves. I think
they splinter off.
Yeah, Kurz and Angron are just done at this point. They're like,
weirdly enough though, I think Kurz stays loyal.
No, he doesn't.
Like I think he's just going to become like a renegade.
See, his legion was already being sanctioned.
Well,
they were already sanctioned by the time. Yeah. By the time the heresy kicked off, the ships bringing them notice that they had been sanctioned were on the way. Those guys were bad from the very start, and they're not getting any better. I'm sorry.
So, do you think they're going to send
Lehman Russ?
They're going to send Lehman Russ to go and deal with them.
I think Malkador would send Lehman Russ
and the Sisters of Silence.
Okay, well, the Sisters were sent specifically to deal with Magnus because they're blanks.
Yeah, but I have a strong feeling that Malkador would also know that Kurz is a psyker.
I mean, it couldn't hurt, right? Like, yeah. Why not send them along? But yeah, probably Malkador sends Lehman Russ out to rein in or deal with Angron and Kurz. Mortarian's probably going to stick around and be fine if they talk to Perturabo. Perturabo's an edge case. Like he could go bad too. He could go bad too if they ignore him.
I honestly think at this point Mortarian would break off.
Mortarian? Really?
Yes. Well, okay, hear me out. He despises the Emperor, and he has always despised the Emperor.
True.
The Emperor being dead denies him the ability to kill the Emperor himself.
That was never his ambition, though.
No, he always wanted to be 7 centimeters better than the Emperor. There's a whole joke from one of the books in 40K where he builds the Imperial Palace, but everything is 7 centimeters bigger. And it's hilarious. But I have a feeling that he would break off from the Imperium at this point and just kind of do his own thing. Maybe not be a threat to them right away, but I do think he would wind up still falling to chaos in the future.
All right. Well, I think we may have spent too much time on this particular one.
I know. I think we keep going. Like we got to go through the rest of the Legion.
I don't know. I think we should skip ahead to the Emperor dying in post-heresy.
Post-heresy. Okay.
Yeah. Because
what if he died at the Siege of Terra?
I mean, a lot of people argue that he did.
No, I mean completely dead.
I know.
No psychic bullshit. No he's actually a baby alive on the Golden Throne.
So Horus succeeds. The Emperor dies at the Siege of Terra.
Yes.
What does this do? Well, a lot of what we talked about before is still valid, but obviously,
well, now Magnus doesn't sit on the throne.
Well, no, I'm not. Yes, the Astronomicon's still gone, is my point.
Yep. And then we have to talk about the failsafe from the Salamanders.
The Talisman of 7 Hammers. Yes.
Yep.
Why don't you explain the Talisman of 7 Hammers?
It's so dumb. It's just a device that says when the Emperor dies, it blows up the throne. There is a much more in-depth way of saying that, but it is just a doomsday device.
Yeah, but it's more than that. Because what it does is it's a dead man switch that if the Golden Throne fails, it basically destroys all of Terra.
Now, what's weird about that
is it's a bomb that kills the planet.
What's weird about that is in the era Indominus, the Golden Throne has failed multiple times and it hasn't gone off.
Well, I think there's a level of failure, right? Like for failure, there's a spectrum, and it may not have hit that threshold. That
it's like 1 second away. Oh, it's back on.
Yeah, but supposedly, and again, this is, to be clear, this is from Old Earth, the novel, and the End of the Death, which are not necessarily the actual truth. So to be clear,
yeah, that is.
But as described in these novels, this talisman would destroy all of Terra to keep it out of the hands of Horus.
Yep.
So that would happen.
Yeah. So Terra is gone.
Well,
assuming it worked, but then again, you had somebody like Perturabo who could probably figure it out, or the Fabricator General of Mars. Could probably figure that stuff out real quick and deactivate it.
Kelbor Hall, but he's weeks away from Terra at that point.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But anyway, if the Emperor died at the battle on the Vengeful Spirit,
oh god, that kills almost all of the Primarchs.
Well, it causes massive problems, and it means that Chaos technically wins. First of all, that would be a technicality for the forces of Chaos. Because Horus would still die, I believe.
Yeah, Horus is way too close. He would be killed.
So, God, yeah,
there are so many Primarchs. Well, like the demon Primarchs would just be banished.
Would they though? I mean, I don't know. That's an interesting question. The forces of Chaos on Earth did GTFO right after Horus was killed, and if Horus dies, even if it's a mutual kill with the Emperor, they'll probably still run because there's a ton of forces coming to reinforce Terra.
Like the Emperor's children were already retreating. Perturabo and his boys talked to Abaddon, and for some reason we're just like, yeah, Abaddon, you're right. Let's leave. I'll never understand that one.
Let's just say morale was low to start with. So
Jagatai Khan would be dead. Sanguinius would be dead.
Sanguinius for sure would be dead. Absolutely.
Let's see. Rogel Dorn would be dead.
It takes a lot to kill a Primarch. I don't know. I mean,
but they're on a planet that's getting obliterated.
There's still the moon.
They also probably still have teleportation technology.
There's still the moon. There's still places they could go. There's and Primarchs, just especially Vulcan, takes a lot of killing.
Yeah, he does. Wait, was Vulcan
there? No, I'm just saying Primarchs in general and Vulcan specifically take a lot of killing.
Yeah. That's true.
So I don't know if Dorn and would be dead.
Erda might die. She's a perpetual though, so did she actually die?
The entire planet being destroyed is bad for even a perpetual, I imagine. But so we're all assuming a whole bunch of things happen. We're assuming that the talisman worked. We're assuming that the Primarchs get off the ship. There's a lot to, I don't know. I think we have to push further out to have like a more concrete.
Do you know what the worst part of this is? The Beast of Rises come or Abaddon comes. That's what happens after the heresy.
Yeah.
Like, and they are not surviving either of those.
Well, the scouring would not be taking place nearly as well because there's no Astronomicon.
No, because Chaos would control the majority of the galaxy.
If the Pharaohs does still exist at this time and is still certainly usable.
Yeah.
So Ultramar will be okay, and the area around Ultramar will be okay. Yeah. But that's basically that would be what the Imperium would be reduced to is Terra and Ultramar, and that's it. Basically.
Yeah, that's not good. And Ultramar would eventually be devoured by Tyranids.
Well, eventually everyone's going to get devoured by Tyranids.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know what you're saying. But if we want to push, actually, let's take a few comments here since we've got quite a bit going on here. We've been talking for almost an hour. Professor Shep says Kurz was being renegade before it was cool. I agree. Professor Shep, I like where your head's at. I find myself agreeing with almost everything you say. Angel 2 Beery says, sorry, arrived late. Why are we killing the Emperor in 30K and not 40K? That's what I'm
getting there.
I'm trying to push further into the future. I do. Do we consider him then dead or just 2 setting destroying? It's a pretty big setting destroyer. It honestly throws
it is the end
so many problems. Part of the reason I wore the shirt today was to remember like this, settings have gone away. They have been destroyed. And killing the Emperor is a really good first step to destroy all of 40K as a setting. And Servant of the Great Horned Rat says, why is it always Russ that does the culling? Because that's what he was for.
Yeah, he's the executioner.
That's what the Space Wolves were for. Serving the Greenhorn Rat says, truth be told, even a Primarch should only be a blip on the radar in scale 40k works with. Should be. Should be is a good point. But it's important to remember, these guys are not just people. They are essentially demigods. They have supernatural, they have warp stuff within them. And that means they affect fate and affect things
have
around them.
Plot armor.
The Primarchs are like stones tossed into a still body of water. They create ripples wherever they go. So yeah, good point. But also, they're just bigger than that. And I hate to say it that way, but it is.
Yeah.
And Goncalo Vicente 1 says Vulcan lives. He definitely does, because he's a perpetual. All right, so let's push forward, shall we? Shall we move into the more 40k era?
All right, so I guess so. Fine, I wanted to kill the Emperor in the past. I guess we gotta go to the future to kill him.
Are you a Terminator? Have you been set? Are you a robot sent from a different point of time to kill the Emperor?
I am the ghost of Christmas future. Somebody will get that reference.
All right, so now we're in full-blown 40k. We're in, let's say, M41. It's somewhere around there. Maybe the last year of M40, just to keep it in. So Gaunt's ghosts are running around. Everything that we know about 40k is true, except for the Arandomida stuff, because we're not there yet. But we have the Ecclesiarchy, we have the Adeptus Mechanicus, we have the Adeptus Terra, we have the Lords of Terra, we have everybody linked in the Imperium by ships traveling back and forth, taking ties, bringing food, selling things. And that is a galaxy-wide civilization that is built on a very, very small pillar, and that pillar is called the Astronomicon. So imagine, Alexis, imagine you're a citizen on an imperial world, a really nice imperial world. I mean, it's like an agri world. There's fields of wheat that go for hundreds of miles. There's probably some cool mountains, maybe an orbital plate where all the nobles live. Maybe you're a noble. Maybe you have power and wealth and slaves and servitors.
Damn, I like where this is going. I'm doing pretty good for myself.
Life is good as a noble in the Imperium. And then one day the ships stop coming. Exactly. So first of all those psychers you've been rounding up to hand off to the League of Black Ships.
Yeah.
What happens? You have, the guys come to you one day and we're like, ma'am, the cages, they're full. We can't put any more psychers in the cages because they're full.
Yeah, that's a big pickle. Okay.
That's a problem. Number two, they're like, hey, all of our granaries are full because nobody's come to pick them up. We're running out of ammo to suppress the riots that have started.
Yeah.
Because we don't make ammo here. We're an agri world. We make food here to send elsewhere. So once those ships stop coming, once the Astronomicon fails and the Emperor dies, outside of the solar system, which is where Terra and the moon and all that stuff is, those guys, the solar system's going to be fine because they can just move.
Yeah, they can actually survive.
And the Mechanicus has Mars, and they're not going to let the solar system die. So outside of that area, though, everybody's in deep shit because the Astronomicon's gone, and there's no more. The League of Black Ships is not flying. There's no more merchants, no more rogue traders, no more shipments.
Weirdly enough, I think the Black Ships can still fly, but navigation is going to be brutally difficult.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Like, can you travel without the Astronomicon? Yes. Is it extremely hazardous? Yes.
Hear me out on this, okay? This is going crazy levels. So, as a resident lover of the Inquisition, there is a certain tool that certain Inquisitors have that might deem them a little bit heretical, but it does work pretty well. You can perhaps use a demon host as a navigator to do longer warp jumps.
Well, that's the fleets of chaos do it all the time. So, Yeah, you're gonna be looking at some serious problems.
Yes.
Are there alternatives to the Astronomicon? Well, we talked about the Pharos device. There have been, it's been described where certain beings of power or groups of psychers can generate kind of a flare in the warp. It is theoretically possible. Let's put it that way. It's theoretically possible that you could get together some psychers and create some sort of limited beacon to guide ships around. But and somebody actually pointed this out in the chat earlier. Is like the Emperor maintains the status quo. All right.
Yep.
Without the Emperor, that means the status quo is broken. Is that bad? It is for a shitload of people, but is it good in a longer term sense? Quite possibly.
Well, aside from, the eventual devouring of Tyranids.
Well, setting aside the fact that we'll all be devoured by Tyranids, the fact is the Imperium is a crumbling civilization. Even at the height of its power, it's still crumbling at the edges.
Yeah.
And I'll just say this. I'm also a Star Trek fan as well as a 40K fan. There's a lot of distance between those two, all right?
Yeah. One is the correct path. One is the one that we're on the way of the future of.
So there is an argument to be made that that the Emperor dying and the end of the Imperium, while horrible for trillions of humans, will actually be less horrible in the long run. That it is a time in which we can climb out of to something better, bigger and better. And there's theories, there's stories. The Inquisition has a group amongst them, for example, that believe in this legend called the Star Child. And the idea that the idea that's part of this is that when the Emperor dies, he will be reborn. His divine essence will find a new host to lead humanity. Could they be right? We don't know, but this would be the time to find out. Let me tell you what.
Yes, it would.
And it would be really interesting. Like for me, one of the most interesting ideas of the Emperor dying is, what do we do now? There are no Primarchs in the pre-era Indomitus to save us. There is only the foibles of humans and whatever Space Marines that are not, fighting off every last Orc and Eldar and Dark Eldar and Tyranid that is trying to destroy what's left. Because the Emperor, the Imperium would literally just be a feast when the Emperor dies.
So I have a few things to add to this.
All right.
And we could talk about each of these things, but I really like these ideas. All right. So the Golden Throne could be fed a few thousand more psychers to try to kickstart it to working.
Somebody would certainly try that. You know that there's somebody would try that.
The next thing would be perhaps capturing Magnus and putting him on it. Or they would try to use like alpha level psychers to sit on the throne. Now,
well, Malkador could do it for a little while, and that burned him out, and he was a perpetual. So I don't think that would work. I think it would be like,
I think after the third time they'd be like, okay, maybe this is a bad idea.
Yeah, we got 3 greasy stains on the Golden Throne. That's all we got out of it.
My other one is there is the possibility that the Eldar come and repair the Golden Throne and make it work.
Why would they do that?
Exactly. Maybe to use the humans as a shield.
Okay. When you say the Eldar, remember the Eldar are just...
I think it would actually be the Harlequins that would do it.
Okay, so to be clear, we're talking specifically about the Harlequins.
Yeah.
Okay. The Harlequins, how are they going to get access to the throne in the first place?
The warp gate that is under Terra.
The webway?
Yeah.
The webway gate that's under that the Golden Throne literally sits on top of, that webway, the one that was filled with demons.
Yep.
Filled with demons.
Yeah, they got this.
I think the Harlequins are pretty great, but I don't think they could fight their way into the throne room. I'm not sure.
The next idea that I had was, with the Golden Throne actually negated, destroyed, whatever. Hear me out on this. I think the Silent King would try to build something similar. Current lore for the Silent King is that he wants to ascend humanity. And he wants to ascend them so that he can get them to the point that they can do biotransference and then use humanity to put the Necrons back into bodies. Now, granted, that caused a civil war with the Necrons currently, and Imhotep the Stormlord and a few others are trying to attack him and whatever. But yeah,
I'm sure, I could think of one group that would absolutely love if he tried to do that.
What?
The Mechanicus.
Oh yeah,
the Mechanicus would be like,
except for especially Belisarius' call.
Oh, he's coming here. He's coming to our solar system. Oh yeah. We'll roll out the red carpet and just walk him right into an examination room. Don't mind all the tools over there. They're just for show until we need to tear you apart and find out how you work.
Yep.
So maybe the Silent King would want to do that. I can imagine that. So the orcs would be going crazy because there wouldn't be anybody that. Let's be clear. Without the Astronomicon, chaos is reigning throughout the galaxy at this point. It's not unlike the Noctis Eterna.
Yeah, chaos is everywhere. We might get a couple more rune storms at this point. Terra blows itself up again.
I mean, yeah, well, yeah, probably. Depending on the talisman and whether or not that's a thing.
Did the writers remember it? That's the key.
The galaxy would be so transformed by the aftermath that it would be almost unrecognizable to even a 40K fan. You'd go to a planet and you'd be like, I'm not sure if this planet was part of the Imperium or not. Some planets would probably just think, if we pray harder, the Emperor will come back. So you might see like the ecclesiarchy completely taking over planets and just shrines and shrines and shrines. You might also see.
Hear me out on that. That might bring the Emperor back. It just won't be the Emperor that they originally thought it was. It might be a incarnation, a very strong warp presence that has become the Emperor.
Right, like the Tau and the Greater Good in the Psychic Awakening. That is an interesting theory, and I do like that one. I was going to say this, though. What might be a real issue is finding out whether faith works for the living saint and the Sisters of Battle or not. Because when the Emperor's dead, that's the time you need faith the most. But it's almost it is deeply, heavily implied that all their power comes from the Emperor.
Yes, it's like soul power that is powered by them. But we also know that miracles can just happen. Like,
yeah. I mean,
there is a. I think
happen.
Right after the Emperor dies, the entire ecclesiarchy would declare, saying that the Emperor is dead, which already is heretical, would get your entire planet purged.
Okay, so remember, the ecclesiarchy seems like a big monolith, but it's really not. It's
several small things that are all under one title.
It's 800 cults in a trench coat that say, "Hi, we're the ecclesiarchy." It's 800 different cults. So some of those cults would be like, "The Emperor is dead. This means now is our time to do the thing." Yep. Others would be like, "The Emperor is not dead, and anybody who says that is a heretic."
And they must be purged by fire.
And even more cults would be like, "We think the Emperor might be dead. We have to go find out. And the only way to do that is a pilgrimage to Holy Terra," and so forth and so forth. And so, like, the ecclesiarchy would be, it would split into all of its different cults, and they would all go running around like chickens with their heads cut off. The military forces would be, again, Astronomicon, would be deeply disadvantaged. You'd see little pockets of the Imperium might survive 10, 20, 50 years after the Emperor is dead.
I think it really depends on whether or not the Necrons come to the aid of the humans.
Which they did do on Cadia.
Yes, they did do it on Cadia. The Silent King has been fighting the Tyranids for 10,000 years, holding them back. So we do know that he is capable of pushing back the entirety of the Tyranids. Granted, he did lose and fall back to the current universe.
Michael Texiera says, if the Beast Horizon series taught me anything, is that it's very easy for Eldars to appear into the Golden Throne. Maybe like one or a small handful could, she was talking about like the Harlequins, like the whole group showing up.
Oh, well, no, I think it would be like ones that know how to repair it, trying to make the pilgrimage.
I could see a small group of Eldar, like a handful could maybe make it through. It's one of those cases where an army could not make it, but like small groups might.
Yeah, like a guerrilla force could make it through. Or just have them walk with Cypher. They'll figure it out.
Gary Girianson says Eldar Protectorate, like Space Bretonia.
I
love that. Love that. Andy would love that too.
I do wish that GW would give the green light to just make the Eldar Power Rangers already. They are Power Rangers. They're Japanese inspired. They follow the path of Bushido. I want them to go full weeb on it.
Eldar pull from many different sources.
They literally use katanas as power weapons. They throw shurikens.
The shurikens are the strongest argument right there.
No, the back banners are literally, they have Japanese iconography on it. They are Japanese.
not exactly, I would say, but I like Ricardo Andre 7049 here says the Emperor has ascended into his divine realm through faith and belief in martyrdom. Shall we join in? That would be several cults doing the same thing. We will follow the Emperor into death. You'd see mass suicide. Like
there would also be like multiple cults and the Inquisition searching for the Star Children, trying to find any remnants of the Emperor.
Some parts of the Inquisition.
Yeah, some parts.
The Inquisition as a whole does not do anything.
No. When I say the Inquisition, it's always assume that I'm talking about small parts of it, because there is no unified Inquisition.
There's some things in 40K are a little bit unified, but very, very few.
Yeah,
very, very few.
Like even saying Space Marines attack something is like, oh well, hold on, not all of them.
Space Marines are like the most monolithic block, and even they are highly distinct and varied. So, anyway, do we have some more super chats to read?
Yes. Okay, right here. Boop. Oh wait,
Ricardo Andre 7049. I think Fulgrim could talk to Kurz now that the vision from Trout has been officially voided, and that he is deed aligned with a fear and a certainty. 8th Legion purged, Conrad stays. Okay, Ricardo. I like that you're an optimist. I like that you're like, there's a way to save Kurz. I don't agree with this, but I think it's a beautiful idea that there's something worth saving with Kurz.
Does Fulgrim have the blade at this point? The lair blade? Yes, right?
So Fulgrim picks up the lair blade. Let's see.
Because if he has the lair blade,
no. So the cleansing of Laren happens right after Ullanor. So yes.
Fulgrim's not helping anymore. He's lost.
So this is referring to we were talking about the previous time.
That's why I was asking if it happened before, after. Oh no, wait, this would be. Are we talking about when he died to the orc?
Yeah, that's what we're saying. It's like
then yes. So he hasn't picked up the lair blade yet.
If the Emperor dies at Ullanor, then Fulgrim could potentially talk to Kurz. Okay.
Yeah. Would Fulgrim's Legion come back at that point? Like, because his Legion is so destroyed.
Fulgrim's?
Yeah, he has 8,000 Marines at this point, like early in the campaign, and then he gets all of his Legionnaires back, and then he does his glorious conquest, and then ends up with the lair blade.
I'm sorry, I hate to be this guy, but if we're talking about the Emperor dying on Ullanor, the Battle of Laren has not happened yet.
Yeah, but I'm saying he doesn't have his full Legion at that point. He just has
hardly anybody has their full Legion, because there's little pieces here and there.
Yeah, but his Legion was absolutely devastated early on, and then they started getting their numbers back, and then he went on that crazy crusade where he was just like, I'm just going to conquer everything in a day.
No. Yeah, Fulgrim was a showman like that, but the point that Ricardo is making here, this is the thing I think is really interesting, is that Ricardo sees something worth saving in Conrad.
That's what you're. I'm like, Fulgrim is doomed from the start. You're just like, Conrad is doomed way before then.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm coming from. Could Fulgrim talk to Kurz? Yes. Could he do that? I question why Fulgrim would want to, number one, because they are not particularly good friends.
Yeah, I don't think they would get along at all.
But if Fulgrim went to talk to Kurz, if Kurz was willing to put aside his visions and say, okay, those are wrong, clearly, basically, if Kurz is willing to get help for his problems, that you're making some big asks, Ricardo. You're making some big asks, but I love your optimism. Ultimately, I don't think this would work, but it's a beautiful idea, and I there's a part of me that wants to make it work, even though I don't think it would.
The only one who could talk to Kurz and get him back like sane is Vulcan.
Sanguinius.
Either of those two.
Well, Sanguinius shares two things with Kurz.
Yeah, the visions.
Well, visions of the future. Yep. Also, they're both powerful psychers.
True.
So that's an idea.
Would get him with the power of friendship.
You know what? Sometimes all you need is a hug from a guy with wings who really is just amazingly cool. I'm just saying. All right, let's go on to the next one.
Yep.
All right, Azure Shadow 88. Thank you, sir. If E dies now, if the Emperor dies now, Terra falls. Can Guilliman save humanity with Secundus? Talking about Imperium Secundus.
Yep.
Or will guilt of last time hold him back? Also, Lion. What is humanity without Terra? Very good question. What is humanity without Terra?
Yeah, they kind of have all their eggs in one basket there.
Well, so the 500 Worlds of Ultramar, Guilliman's Imperium Secundus, which is what Azure Shadow is talking about here, did represent an actual, like, this was no joke. This was a fallback position.
For 500 worlds.
I mean, it's not much, but that and 3 Primarchs could take you a long way.
Yeah.
So the question here is, will Guilliman's guilt from last time hold him back? Also Lion. So Guilliman and the Lion both feel guilty about the Imperium Secundus.
Yep.
Lion less guilty and more like that was a mistake. Guilliman more guilty, less that was a mistake. Because Guilliman knows it was a good idea. Guilliman would be like, well, I have never seen Guilliman shy away from shame if it was what he needed to happen. He went and spoke to the Emperor face to face when he was reawakened. And that was not pleasant for Guilliman.
No,
but he did it. But he did it because it needed to be done. So would the guilt hold him back? Not enough. I think he would plow forward with Imperium Secundus. As for the Lion, it's not guilt for the Lion. The Lion's just like, that was a mistake. I don't think the Lion would get involved in another Imperium Secundus, but I don't think he would oppose it. I don't think he'd be like, don't do that. He'd just be like, leave me out of it.
When it comes to the Lion, I always see people talk about this with the Primaris Space Marines and how Lion would fight Guilliman over the Primaris Space Marines. And Lion wouldn't. He would just be like, oh, okay, I see why you did this. Good idea. And just move on from it. He'd probably think that his brother didn't go far enough.
I like this one from Professor Schapp. Vulcan, I hugged my brother. Curtis steps Vulcan. Vulcan, I hugged my brother. That's great. All right. We have another super chat, I believe.
Yep. Wait, did I just post the same one? Yeah, I did. Sorry. Bob.
Stephen Lucas, 8836. Thank you, sir. Was Kurz's how deal with seeing visions of the definitive future? If Emps dies, what would throw off his visions, or do we have to give difference? I'm assuming difference.
So yeah. He sees them die. Like, he sees himself dying, like, way before the Emperor shows up, right?
Here's what I think this guy's saying. I think Stephen is saying that Kurz believed he saw the definitive future, that this was absolutely going to happen.
Yeah.
And the Emperor dying would throw, he's asking, would that change? How would that change how Conrad sees his visions, right?
He might think he's being lied to. Or he's schizophrenic.
So Conrad is, just to be really clear, Conrad is a murdering psychopath, and all he gives a shit about is that, but
he also has like dissociative identity disorder.
He is very,
he has him and the Night Hunter
deeply disturbed. He's very deeply disturbed. I don't want to get into analyzing an imaginary character because I'm not a psychologist. But I can tell you that dude is I question, just like I questioned Ricardo Andre, is there anything worth saving in Conrad?
I'm honestly surprised the Emperor didn't just kill him when they first met.
No, we'll see. That's the thing. Is the Emperor knew he could use that.
Yeah.
He could use that. And as long as he was useful, Conrad was fine. The Emperor, profoundly flawed as a father, as a leader, profoundly flawed. So the question here, what would happen with Kurz's visions if the Emperor dies? And I think Alexis, you nailed it. He's either going to say these were a lie, or he's going to go even more crazy.
I like the idea. All right, and I'm tossing a bone to the last guy because people want him to be a good boy. He is not a good boy, but people want him to be a good boy. I think that if his visions are wrong, he might actually snap out of being the Night Haunter and just go back to being the Primarch, which is still a psychotic madman, but it's a psychotic madman that can think a little bit. Not very much, but, little bonuses, and then send Vulcan to hug him and Sanguinius to hug him. Get some actual, therapy there.
Listen, like I said, I admire people that want to see good in Kurz and redeem Kurz.
Yeah.
I don't personally feel he's redeemable. I don't think that would ever happen because his trajectory was set the moment he was basically born. Some people are just bad. But Ricardo Andre, 7049, welcome back, sir. On my previous super chat, Fulgrim was Conrad's mentor, and he says he loves some of his brothers, Sangui and Fulgrim being the likely pair. Sanguinius, probably. Conrad will say stuff. I don't know if I put a lot of stock in that. I look at Conrad's actions more than his words.
Yeah.
And he never really acted that brotherly. He tortured and killed Vulcan many, many times. He defended.
Well, was that him or was that the Night Haunter?
He defended Lorgar against Korax, but only really just to kind of mess with Korax. I mean, does Kurz actually care? He says it. I don't think he actually does. Again, I love the fact that you're like, no, he does. He really cares.
We just want him to be good boy.
There might be a world, there might be a universe, there might even be a timeline where the Emperor's death, and I guess this is where people are saying, if there's any chance of saving Kurz, maybe the Emperor's death would do it. Yeah. Maybe that's and in that light, yes, I think I would. I think I would choose something more positive because I think we'd all be looking for something more positive from the Emperor's death, right? Yeah. It shouldn't just all be death and destruction. What could be one positive thing? One positive thing could be, I will stipulate that it could shock Kurz into being more sane. I will stipulate to that. Ricky Chapman, 3377 says, isn't there a webway on the moon?
Yes.
According to Chris Wright and his novels about the Custodes, there is one.
I find it also mentioned again in the crusade to get back to Terra that Gilliman takes in 40K. My brain, it's not the Indominus Crusade, is it just called the Terran Crusade? But it's when he fights Magnus and everything, and Magnus gets trapped on the moon. It's a very weird story. It also has like one of my favorite moments ever. Slaanesh and Khorne make a demonic alliance and attack Gilliman. They ambush him, attack him, and they have him completely surrounded. Like this should have been the death of Gilliman. And then Shalaxi Hellbane kicks Karnak, and all of the Khorne demons just start fighting Slaanesh.
The bottom line is don't mess with the dog.
Yes.
Even if it's a demon dog. So isn't there a webway on the moon? Yes, there is. Unquestionably, there's a webway on the moon. What I was getting at with the according to the book, I don't know when that happened. And
oh yeah, that's true. We don't know if they built it recently or not.
See, here's my concern about that, because we know for a fact the Emperor knew about the webway. We know he was doing the webway project on Terra under his throne room, right? That was the whole point of the Imperium Palace, was to build a spot where he could get into the webway. That was the project that he wanted to do.
Yeah.
He abandoned the Great Crusade for this. It was the most important thing to the Emperor of mankind, who controlled the entire solar system, not just Terra. So if there was a webway on the moon then, why didn't he just use that? Right? Like, that's the first question. So I'm like, I don't know when this happened exactly. I'm assuming, I have to assume, just based on what I know, right, and my understanding of the lore, I have to assume this webway was not around during 30K and only came about sometime between the end of the Horus Heresy and the Return of Guilliman, because it just doesn't make any sense if it was there. And again, and why would the Eldar have one on the moon and Terra at the same time?
Yeah, it's very weird that they have two so close to each other.
It would make sense to build one on the moon after, though. Like, that makes sense to me, is like some Eldar were,
yeah,
like,
they couldn't get there,
like the Cabal or whatever. Yeah, so yes, but when? Like, that's where I kind of have to kind of chime in a little bit. But yeah, good point, Ricky Chapman. There is one on the moon. Azure Shadow 88 says, thank you, sir. What if idea? Primarch's not stolen by chaos.
Well, I mean, they were scattered by Erda also. Like, that whole, I love that story tells you 3 different ways that the Primarchs were scattered, and all are true. Like, Erda was possessed and scattered them, or was she tricked and scattered them, or did Chaos actually scatter them?
Yeah, it's, who knows.
Also, why didn't Chaos just shoot them into the sun?
So first of all, Azure Shadow, great idea, would make an excellent topic for one of these.
Talk about that for 3 hours, though.
Oh, I could. Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, you okay? Absolutely. Okay, yeah. You know what? It's added to the list.
Absolutely. I mean, you've got, okay, so not scattering the Primarchs changes everything. Angron doesn't get the nails. Mortarion doesn't have an issue.
Angron is a psyker then.
Well, he certainly doesn't get the nails. Mortarion doesn't have issue with the Emperor because he doesn't have the alien father problem.
Fulgrim doesn't need to go after the Lorebeard.
Fulgrim, lots of things would change. Lots and lots and lots of things would change if they were.
Also, the Emperor would learn how to count. He would count to 21. Hey, wait a second. There's 2 of you there.
So very good. We will do a whole show about that at some point, Azure Shadow. Great idea. Is there any more?
That was the end of the super chats for now.
Right.
I assume more people want to ask more questions because there's so many good ones.
I like Ricardo Andre again. The Terran Webway was the Emperor connecting to the existing infrastructure. So Terran is artificial from the Eldar point of view, while Luna is the actual one.
Is it though?
I don't know. I don't think that's accurate entirely.
I know that the Golden Throne was originally like Eldar tech, maybe, or precursor technology, like maybe Slan technology.
Slani.
Yeah, sorry, Slani. Sorry, we got to nickname them. We added letters to their nickname. We do know that it was believed. Well,
it's thought to be from the Dark Age technology. I don't know if it's. I don't believe it's. We don't know. Like, the bottom line is it Eldar? We don't know.
Yeah,
but it's.
It might just be the Emperor built it.
Yeah, there's
because he is from the Dark Age of technology.
Well, yes, he was from every age prior to this one.
It's very true.
So we were talking about what if the Emperor died during the 40K era, right? And we talked about how bad that would be for everybody. It would mean the end of the Imperium, and the only good thing, like, I think that's the part I was reaching for there, is the only good thing is that it leaves a possibility of going somewhere new and changing that status quo. Could humanity survive? Yes. Is
humanity,
it likely?
Yes.
Mankind, yes. Imperium, probably not. I don't know.
I don't think the Imperium survives. Like, that's the thing. I think without the Emperor, the Imperium itself dies to itself more than any enemy.
I mean, it's going to fight itself. It's going to fall apart. So who have you got to lead? I mean, setting aside the astronomical and the issues.
We have Guilliman to lead.
No, this is we're not in the era Indominus yet.
Okay, we're not in era Indominus. So Guilliman's not back. He's still dead.
So who takes charge of the Imperium?
Technically, Lion is back, but he's also not. But he's around during these time periods, but he's also not.
You might as well consider the Lion.
Yeah, he's not there.
So no Primarchs. There's no Primarchs coming to save us. The Council of Terra has been ruling Terra for 10,000 years. They're going to see themselves as the natural, like, oh, we're in charge now. The Custodes, probably not so much about that. The Custodes probably be like, now you're not actually in charge. And,
I think, what is his name? Constantine Valdor comes back.
There's some really interesting novels dealing with that.
Yes, because we know he's back, and then we don't know what's happening after that.
We believe he might be coming back. We're not entirely certain that that's true.
He's totally back. We know that. Anyway, I'm joking. But I think that he returns to Terra, talks to Trajan Valoris, the current Captain General, and maybe he could lead.
Valdor, I don't think Valdor could. Okay, let me explain. Valdor is very powerful as an individual. He's very authoritative as an individual. He's right underneath the Primarch in terms of raw power.
He even has the Primarch's rules.
True, but he's not actually a Primarch. He doesn't have that special something that allows Primarchs to be such leaders and heroes.
I just thought of it. It's obviously, Caiaphas Cain. The hero of the
Imperium. Cain would be like, the safest place to be right now would be on Terra. And he goes there. And they're like, oh my God, it's Caiaphas Cain, hero of the Imperium. You know what you should do is you should what do you think we should do from now? He's like, a rear echelon command where I don't have to get, in danger. This sounds like a great plan. And before you know it, Cain walks into the room and they're all like, we have decided that you are the new seneschal in charge of the Imperium. What?
Just don't sit on the throne. It's a bit dangerous.
Jurgen's sitting on it. What? It's fine.
It's totally fine.
That would be hilarious.
So let's see. We have to have the Council of Terra, essentially. It wouldn't be a democracy. It would be feudalistic.
I think, you made a point earlier that they would just start fighting each other, right?
Yeah.
And with the Emperor gone, the Lords of Terra really don't have a reason to work together so much outside of custodians. It would depend a lot on whether the Assassinorum decides to take a hand or not, because the Assassinorum...
What do the Grey Knights do?
Yeah, good question, right? What do the Grey Knights do? They have their Terminus Decree, right?
Yeah, but the Emperor's just gone.
The Terminus Decree may or may not have something to do with that. The Grey Knights will do something. I think we can all agree they're based on Saturn, so they're not that far from Terra. They can just go there. They don't need a warp jump. So yeah, the Grey Knights would have something to do with what happens. The Assassinorum would have something to do because they're
killing a lot of the High Lords.
Let's just put it this way: if the Grandmaster of Assassins decides he's going to be the first among equals in the Lords of Terra, he's going to be the first among equals in the Lords of Terra. Because what do you think the guy in charge of the Navy is going to do?
He's going to go, I don't want to get killed.
Yeah,
let's listen to you, buddy.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
So let's see, who could potentially lead the Imperium?
Michael Texiera says Drago would find the Emperor's soul and force his ass back on the throne.
Didn't they write him out of the lore?
No, he's in it. He's last I knew, he's still canonical.
Because I know they basically wrote him out because they don't have the rights to his name.
No, I don't think that's true.
Because Khaldor Drago and Khal Jericho are really close to each other, that GW doesn't want to get sued again, and they wrote him out along with a bunch of other named characters that are no longer mentioned in the lore, the Doom of Malantai and things like that, where they're just mentioned but they'll never come back.
my understanding is that Drago is still part of the lore, and so
Drago was recently taken out of the codexes also. Yeah.
My understanding is that he's still a named character. Just because a named character doesn't show up in a codex doesn't mean that they're dead.
No, I'm not saying he's dead. I think that GW is just gonna like
that doesn't mean anything either. There have been entire editions that have skipped certain characters and they've shown up again.
So or entire Space Marine chapters, like the Rainbow Warriors.
Entire species, like the Squats, and who are now the Leagues of Votann. So it doesn't mean anything. The fact anyway, we're
that's a whole nother topic.
We're on a very long tangent.
We'll talk about like lore, Warhammer, and canon in a future episode, and we're both excited about that one.
That's true. Michael Salomon 8315 says no emperor may mean high lords may try to kill custodians. Enough plasma and titans kills everything. Good points. The custodians are extremely difficult to kill.
Custodians also have a really good way of killing titans, teleporting inside them.
Well, they also have the Nemesis Psi Titans on their side. So there's that. But Michael Salomon makes a really interesting point, because would the High Lords try to get rid of the custodians or go around the custodians now that the Emperor is no longer in the picture? They absolutely would. Yeah. It's only a matter of time.
Even right now, if we read like the Indominus era stuff with Guilliman talking to the High Lords of Terra, the High Lords of Terra were already superseding their powers. Like they were trying to do things that were only beneficial to them and trying to get as much power as possible. And then Guilliman had to, kill a bunch of them.
They're talking about Drago here.
Yeah, he's so OP they tried to delete him. Yeah, I mean, if you have a character that can delete entire Space Marine chapters, you get rid of him.
As usual, Cade solves everything. That's basically
hero true. Of the Imperium.
So do we want to let's shift gears and talk about the Era Indominus?
Okay. Before that, we have 2 super chats.
Okay.
We have this one.
Ricky Chapman, thank you, sir. Also want to throw in Conrad and Fulgrim were friends. Conrad told Fulgrim is surprisingly vulnerable to him. Understood.
He will be a good boy. You listen to the chat.
I think they're bringing me around on this idea because, again, it's such a dark subject to start with, and then taking it darker with the Emperor's death. It's only natural that we as humans want to see something good come out of it, and redeeming Conrad a little bit, even a little bit, would be really nice. So yeah. I think they're talking me into it. Ricardo Andre 7049. Conrad's rule of Nostromo, while present, was a prosperous rule. Fear-driven, yes, but equitable with the rules. Order is his ultimate goal. Justice, the method for order, and fear, the path to impose justice.
Yeah, so that's called, like, fascism. Like, he was a hyper-fascist.
Well, so, Ricardo, again, you guys are talking me into something I never thought I'd be in the position of, which is hoping for the best for Conrad. I will say that you're taking a very rosy view of the rule of Nostromo. You're taking an ends justifies the means kind of view there, and I don't agree with that. I think Nostromo was a horrible place to live under Conrad, but
like you sneeze at the wrong time and die.
Listen. I think we can all agree that Conrad became a monster. Did he become a monster after ruling Prospero, before Prospero, or sorry, not Prospero, Nostromo?
Yeah.
Did he become a monster while ruling Nostromo? Before that, after? We can debate that.
Somebody.
But he did become a monster, like an absolute monster. The Emperor's death, and this is why I think is the fascinating thing about this. What if? The fascinating thing here is it does change that status quo. It gives us a lever, right, to look at things from a different perspective. And if Conrad would take that option, I don't think he would, to be clear. But if he did, like that's the interesting thread on that multiversal tree, right, that I would like to follow. And I do think that maybe he could become that guy that you're talking about here, like a Batman, a benevolent space Batman. That would be a more interesting view, then Conrad just goes crazier, which is, I think, the more likely outcome, but far more boring outcome. So, Ricardo, if nothing else, you and your buddies and everybody else in chat, big thumbs up, because I had not really given that much credit to the possibilities of the Emperor's death and how that could change our view of some people. Conrad amongst them, Horace amongst them. Horace, with the Emperor dead, Horace, actually, let's get rid of that super chat for now.
Yep. But, I do want to just put this out there. I need somebody in there, in the chat, that is an artist, to draw Conrad as a good boy. I need you to do it, where he's like this and just like the wimpy eyes, and just draw Ross saying no.
I'm not saying no. I want to be clear. I'm definitely not saying no. I think they're talking me into it. They're actually talking me into it. And this also opens up some really interesting ideas for Victor. I feel like there's an episode of Conrad Kurz that needs to happen, considering how many super chats been talking about him. Well, we will definitely do all the Primarchs. I want to talk about all the Primarchs. But I think Horace too would actually be more interesting in a post-Emperor world. I'd like to see what happens with him.
Yeah.
We didn't. One thing we didn't talk about before we go into the Era Indomitus.
Yeah.
In the main 40K era, the Emperor dies. What do the other factions do? You mentioned the Orcs might be disappointed, like they might be.
So yeah,
less of a good fight, right?
So this begs the question on whether or not the Orcs know or understand what the Emperor is. We do know that in some of the newer books, that the Orcs the Orc weird boys have an understanding of what the Emperor actually is and how powerful he is. But the Orcs in general do not know what the Emperor is. It's just something that the Humies, the Beakies, shout when they charge. So I think the Orcs wouldn't know that the Emperor died. They would just, maybe some of the weird boys would find out, but then the bosses would just not care about the weird boys. They'd be like, weird boys is acting weird.
Well, as a there's no monolithic Orcs either. They're just warbands.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think in general, over time, war bosses would start to realize that something big had changed, because the Humies weren't defending as often or as effectively, and it would probably be like really good for a little while and then really bad for a little while. Where the Orcs are like, hey, it's really good. We can go fight all the places that we want to fight, and we're going to fight even more. And then after a while, they're gonna be like, yeah, but now there's no challenge to it. That we're just steamrolling.
I think the Orcs would switch away from fighting humans to fighting all of the Chaos fleets that are starting to appear.
Which would be a lot, because Abaddon would be like, I've been waiting for this.
Yeah. I think Abaddon would actually be super disappointed.
No, I think he'd be like, now is the time. New Black Crusade. We're going to Terra. That the false Emperor is dead. It's time to teach everybody who the real Emperor is.
Yeah, but he didn't do it. I think he'd be disappointed. He'd actually be more enraged that he didn't do it. Maybe. Okay. It depends who write him. If Aaron Dinsky Bowden writes him, Abaddon is going to have a long inner monologue about it and how upset he actually is about it, and then get mad, and then externally be like, death to the Imperial followers. And if anybody else writes him, he's just going to be generic bad guy of the week.
Well, there are other good writers. Aaron would be the first one to say he's not the only good writer.
But Aaron writes Abaddon amazingly.
Well, I thought Dan did a pretty good job with him.
Yes.
But Dan Abaddon.
Talon of Horus is such a good book.
Suffice to say, Abaddon would have a reaction. And
so
I believe he'd launch a new Great Crusade. Maybe he'd do it out of anger. Maybe he'd do it out of excitement.
Does he have enough of his fleet left to do a Great Crusade?
Well, he did 13 of them during this period of time. So, yes.
During the last Crusade, he lost his last Blackstone Fortress, so he'd have to go to talk to Horan Blackheart to get a new one.
Okay,
or to get his back.
Just to be clear, we're still pre Air Indomitus at the moment.
Okay, so he still has his Blackstone Fortress.
Well, if we're pre Air Indomitus, he could have a number of Blackstone Fortresses.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
If it's
so that means
if it's post Gothic War, he's got at least one, if not more.
He has post Gothic War. He has 2. He gives 1 to Horan Blackheart and keeps 1 for himself. This would
which
mean
he
that
then crashes into Cadia.
But this would also mean that he takes Cadia way easier if the Emperor is dead before he launches that 13th Black Crusade. And I'm not talking the first 13th Black Crusade. I'm talking the second wave of it, where he did crush the planet. Because the Sisters of Battle wouldn't show up, because they weren't there. The Phalanx wouldn't show up. I don't know why the Phalanx showed up, but it did. Well. The Space Wolves would have been absolutely demolished by Magnus and the Lion, the Dark Angels at this point. And they would, that all happens sequentially. The Dark Angels attacked the Space Wolves because they found out about the Wolfen and deemed them heretical. It took an Inquisitor to stop them because that Inquisitor knew about both their secrets.
Was that Greyfax or was this somebody else?
It was somebody else. It was the Inquisitor that Bjorn the Fell-Handed hits on, which is a hilarious scene.
Oh, wow.
But then she gets them to work together to fight Magnus. Magnus devastates most of the Space Wolves. And then the Space Wolves' last hurrah was to charge into the Blackstone Fortress and destroy it, which they did. If GW had balls, they would have killed off the Space Wolves at this point. But that's just me.
But they didn't destroy the Blackstone Fortress. It crashed into Cadia.
No, they destroyed it. They used its husk to blow up the planet.
All right. Well, suffice to say, it's a complicated story.
They do have Planet Killer at both events, and they even have Planet Killer again at the Nexus. The story with the Herald guy. Oh my God, I'm drawing a complete blank because it meant almost nothing. Not the Pariah. Was it the Pariah Nexus where Planet Killer shows up again? But anyway.
Let's move on to the Air Indomitus, because we left this off too long. The Air Indomitus is the current era of 40K. It is the post Black Crusade. Cadia is destroyed. Now we have the Cactrix Maledictum. The galaxy split in half. We have the Primaris Marines. Guilliman's back. The Lion's back. The Imperium is resurgent, and then the Emperor.
And the Emperor died.
Wow. Well, this puts the Imperium in an...
Harkin World Taker. Thank you. World Claimer. So I couldn't remember his name because he's such a nobody character. Thank you.
So that's who she was talking about. Yes. But in the Air Indomitus, it's both better and worse. It's better because we actually do have leaders. We have Guilliman, we have the Lion, we have humanity has demigods we can rally around, and these guys are not venal Lords of Terra who are going to squabble amongst the scraps in the ruins. Guilliman and the Lion, they want to get down to business. They want to get like, hey, what? Even if the Imperium couldn't be saved as an institution, they would certainly want to protect mankind because that's what they're about.
Okay, so we're talking Guilliman is fully alive, and all right,
current era, but the Emperor dies.
Okay, hear me out on this. Okay, right. Get your like theory cap on. I want to see like full like aluminum foil around your hat. Ready?
Okay.
Guilliman takes your brain with him to Terra.
and to do what?
To revive the Emperor. She's the god of the dead.
Okay, so...
Well, she isn't, but, you know.
An attempt, if you're saying that an attempt would be made to resurrect the Emperor, as Guilliman was resurrected.
Yeah.
You're probably right. Somebody would want to try it. I do think
Guilliman would do it. Belisari's call would be right there.
I think, okay, in my belief, I think Call and Guilliman both realize that this is a very different thing, that the Emperor and the Primarch are on very different levels. Okay.
Yeah.
And what worked for Guilliman was a very specific and unique set of circumstances. Okay. I think both Guilliman and Call are aware of this. So I think both of them would be resistant to the idea. Could they be talked into it? Probably. Possibly. Yeah. I'm not going to say probably. Possibly get talked into it, into the attempt, because why not at least try, right? I could see I could see a way through to get to those guys and maybe give it a shot. Do I think it could succeed? No.
Well, yeah, no, we're keeping the Emperor dead, but I do think that would be a major plot point.
Okay, granted, that would be a major plot. I will stipulate to that, because it would be a lot of conversation about. Hang on, I saw a comment I have to bring up. Hi, Dad. Here's my girlfriend, Kurishima 3912. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Michael Texiera, of course, and then they marry and have beautiful children together, and they go meet Grandpa.
Yes. I want this to happen. I don't care. I want Gilliman and Yvraine to be together.
So I love the fact that we're talking about like the worst possible thing to happen to humanity. And we're all like, you know what? But this good thing happened. This one good thing. We're finding that good thing, and we're embracing and we're holding it tight. I also really like shipping Guilliman with Yvraine, to be clear.
Look, in all fairness, I had every writer that I've ever talked to has said yes. And even when I talked to what was it? It was Gav Thorpe. Gav Thorpe was like, yes, but I can't say that.
Michael Texiera, damn, everything goes well and then the Emperor dies. Bummer. Yes, master of understatement, Michael Texiera. Bummer indeed.
So my other theory is that Belisarius Cawl knows that he can't get the Emperor's body back to life, maybe. So he contacts somebody who's a master of cloning. Just say
Fabius Bile to clone the Emperor. Okay, you know what? If this ever becomes like a book series, they need to talk to you, because your ideas are compelling. I want to watch that movie where they go try to convince Fabius Bile. I think Fabius Bile would be very interested. I think he'd be like, hell yeah, I want to try this. Like, give me a shot, put me in, coach. But
some call me a visionary, others call me stupid.
He's not stupid. He's advanced.
I'm built different, incorrectly.
Well, you'd have to, in the case of a novel series around this event, you'd also have Trazen the Infinite try to steal the body. Let's be very clear.
Without a doubt.
But in the novel series, he'd be actually up against a crack elite squad of Blood Ravens who are also trying to steal the Emperor's body for their chapter. Hippity hoppity, it's Blood Raven's property.
I do love that GW actually rolled with that lore when they did their lore blurb, and now the Blood Ravens are responsible for training other chapters' psychers in exchange for gifts from their reliquary.
Jesus. The Magpies.
I love it so much.
Yeah, so Professor Shapp says the custodians would be working overtime trying to stop everyone from stealing the body. Yeah. That's fair. But yeah, by and large, the Emperor's death is the end of the setting. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. It's the end of the setting. It's just, how do we get there? Era Indomitus, like I said, it's both good and bad. It's bad because things are already bad and they're going to get worse, but it's also good because we actually have people who could step in and change things to adjust that trajectory. There's a little tiny bit of hope. Pre-Era Indomitus, there's not much hope. I don't think, aside from Caiaphas Cain taking over, I don't think there's really any beams of light in the 40K era.
If the Emperor dies, we might get a book series that acknowledges two things. One, Cypher and the Lion are back and have not talked to each other yet. And two, what the hell are the Watchers in the Dark?
Well, I am a Dark Angels fan. I want to know all the Dark Angels lore. Trust me, I do. I want to know more about the Watchers in the Dark. I want to know more about Cypher. But what I was saying is, it's almost worse in the 40K era than it is in any other era. Mm-hmm. Because there's just nobody left to pick up the pieces. Or the people that could pick up the pieces don't have the authority. They're not in the right place. They don't have the strength. I mean, we could all like, you know, wishcast to be like, well, what about Ravenor? What about Commissar Gaunt? What about, you know, there's all these people that we see as the heroes, Dante of the Blood Angels, or you know, what's the chapter master of the Ultramarines? Calgar, Marnius Calgar. So there's heroes that were like, yeah, those guys are heroic. Could they pick up the pieces in a post Emperor 40K without?
It's a post-apocalypse setting now.
Yeah, I feel like 40K, the era, the post heresy, pre era Indomitus, that is possibly the worst possible time for the Emperor to die. So thank God he didn't die during that period. Dying at the Siege of Terra would be bad, but not that bad because most of the Primarchs are still around.
Yep.
Dying at Ullanor is actually like one of the most interesting, but also one of the most.
I really think that's the best. I think that's the best case scenario because it unifies most of the legions.
The problem is that it still leaves the Imperium as
shattered.
It leaves the Imperium in a very bad place. It doesn't. So Great Crusade era is still not quite. It's not quite where it needs to be. It's getting there.
Ooh.
Right. And
I see a comment that I want your reaction to.
Imperium was relatively fine after the heresy. It wasn't until M32 post War of the Beast and Black Crusade that things went down. Ooh, that's a bold statement. That's a bold statement. Michael Salomon, 8315. Relatively fine after the heresy. I disagree with that deeply.
No, it deeply. Took the. Well, we don't know the Scourings lore yet. There is lore tidbits, but I'm waiting for those book series. I can't wait for that. I think it's going to be super nice, like super cool to actually see how the Imperium tries to pick itself back up again and then rolls right into the War of the Beast.
If I may, leave that comment up for a second, please.
Oh, yeah, go ahead. Yep.
If I may, I think what he's saying is that the next big things that occur are the War of the Beast and Black Crusade. And so I think what he's saying is that there is a period post-heresy to catch your breath, regroup, rebuild. And that period, that's an opportunity, I think is what he's trying to say, that doesn't exist elsewhere. And if he's saying that, he's absolutely correct. That is the post-heresy era, the era after the heresy and before the War of the Beast does give you some time, but the majority of that time in the current setting, the majority of that time was used to sort of process what happened, and deal with the trauma, the not just psychic trauma, but like cultural trauma, war trauma, brother against brother, whole planets were torn apart, cultures were torn apart. It required that period of time to kind of re-knit things back together.
Yep.
And
it was
adding a dead emperor in there. I don't know if that would be. Let me just say you're not wrong, but you're also a little out of line. So on that one. Okay, so where are we at? We're at just about an hour left in the show.
Yep.
And we're going to talk about, we've talked about the era Dominus, we've talked about the heresy, we've talked about post-heresy, we've talked about Great Crusade.
Can you take over for a second real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
So I am now in charge. Haha, the show is mine. So you guys, let's hear from you. Like, what are some things you would like to know about what happened if the Emperor died? What are some things some theories or thoughts that you might have about where things would go? Because I'm really curious. I like this comment. The Imperium never really recovered from the Horus Heresy. You're pretty much right about that. What if the Emperor never existed? That's very different. That you're talking about a completely different setting at that point. Because really it's just whatever humanity would have become without the Emperor, which if you've ever read the Unification Wars, it was bad. It was very, very bad. Earth was the ugly place. So bloody Calgar, I do like that one a lot too. So Nether Bongo says, seems like if the Emperor dies, the sooner the better before he warps mankind around him. Maybe. It depends on that depends on whether or not the Imperium, the Great Crusade that created the Imperium. Welcome back. I was pondering this question here. It says, seems like the Emperor dies. Seems like if the Emperor dies, the sooner the better before he warps mankind around him. And I was saying that it depends on whether or not you see the Imperium as a good thing, because the Great Crusade that established the Imperium, it did reconnect humanity with all of its lost colonies. It did throw off the shackles of enslavement and oppression from aliens that had conquered earthly or human settled worlds. Do I think the Great Crusade and the Imperium is a good thing? No, God, no. Awful. But if the Emperor dies before he warps mankind around him, that's a really interesting way to put it. The Emperor does have a way of warping things around him. Yep. He is a locus that not only kickstarts the biggest impacts of the setting, it also, everyone's perspective is kind of aligned around whether they support or do not support the Emperor, whether they believe the Imperium is or is not a good thing. You can make a lot of arguments that the Traitor Primarchs had really good reasons to rebel. They did. They absolutely did.
Nonsense. Nope. Disagree. This is a heretic.
I'm on the other side. We're mirrored, so you have to. There
yeah.
You go. Now you're pointing. Boom. Is it heresy to say the Imperium is an oppressive, brutal regime? No, I mean,
I think they would probably take that and be like, "Yes, we are."
Maybe
start resisting.
Maybe I am a heretic. But the idea that the Emperor warped humanity, that's pretty profound, and I think he's got a. You could make a strong argument that without the Emperor, humanity would be. Well, certainly would be a very different thing in 40K.
Without the Emperor, you don't have the Sisters of Battle. That's a major fighting force. That is millions of Sisters of Battle.
So I think that's the real answer, right? Is that without the Imperium, we don't have the cool game. Without the cool game, we don't have the novels and the lore and all the stuff that we enjoy. So it's a shame. It's a horrible thing to say that the Imperium kind of needs to exist for 40K to exist. And without the Imperium, does 40K really exist? I mean, that's, I don't know. We're getting into some weird places here, but Michael Texer says he's a heretic and the Slaneshi cultist. Irony at its finest. Yeah, there you go. I guess so. You're getting your lore from a heretic and a Slaneshi cultist. Congratulations. Hello, Inquisition. Yes, this one. Take Ross away. Hey, I got news for you, buddy. I am the Inquisition.
What?
And the Inquisition contains some of the worst and the best of humanity at the same exact time.
Which is always funny. Oh my god. All right. Do we have any super chats that we haven't gone over?
Not yet, I don't think. Maybe one. Servant of the Great Horn Rat says, what the Imperium considers heresy can basically boil down to not agreeing with the Emperor. You're not wrong. It is slightly more complicated than that, but you're not wrong.
We actually do have a few if we want to go through them real quick.
Okay, but just really quick to answer that guy. Heresy and what heresy is a fascinating conversation to have. And especially my particular area of interest is what is considered tech heresy and what is not.
Yes.
And we will have to have a show all about heresy and its various forms, because it's fascinating to talk about what is tech heresy, what is heresy against the ecclesiarchy, what is heresy against the emperor, what is heresy against the Imperium. Yeah, long conversation to be had there. Please proceed, madam.
You ready?
Massive Derp.
Great name. Absolutely fantastic name. I love you.
You have the best name, sir. Here's my tithe for Lorebeards 40K. Thank you. We appreciate it. Without you guys, we could not do the show. So, Victor.
Yes, this really does mean a lot.
Victor, I, for one, feel a great amount of sympathy for the Administratum scribes that now have no reports to receive and ignore from across the Imperium. There would be entire planets where people would have nothing to do. You're right.
What do you mean I have free time? What is free time?
Yeah, labor would change drastically in the aftermath of the emperor dying. Skylar Martin 4298 says, "Oh no." Anyways, I guess he's talking about when we said what did the other factions think about the emperor dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
no.
I really do think that most of the factions would be affected by the emperor's death at this point. Like, I think a lot of them rely on the Imperium more than they like to admit. Like, the Eldari simply exist because they can use the Imperium as a meat shield. And that is kind of their, like, a lot of their lore in video games is them just tricking other races to fight their battles because they simply don't have enough people. So if the Imperium, if the Imperium was wiped out, they would have to fight their own battles, and they don't want to do that.
Well, specifically Craft World,
Craft World,
the Asuryani, as they're called.
Yeah,
the Asuryani would be probably like, well, shit. Now who do we hide behind? That's a good point.
Yeah, and the most of the other ones, like the Corsairs, the Exodites, and the Crone Worlders, if you want to count them, they would all be destroyed. No one to hide. They die.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. There's not like they would die. They would die out.
Yeah,
they'd be in a disadvantageous state. But it's not like, aside from some Slaaneshi aligned Chaos Warbands, there are not groups out there just like hunting Eldar. Like, we have to kill the Eldar. They're more a target of opportunity.
Even the orcs don't view them as a good fight.
Well, yeah. Orcs have a scale. They're like, I'd rather fight beakies, but if I have to fight pansies, I'll fight.
Or tin boys. I love that they call Admech tin boys.
Skylar Martin 4298 says, "What if it turns into an Imperial remnant situation from Star Wars?" Ooh,
I like this.
I see you. In this system, the Emperor is alive, and we don't talk about heresy. In our system, I am the new Emperor. He chose me. Trust me, bro. You know, that's a very realistic look at what would happen. Different systems would have different reactions. Different groups. If you were in the Gothic sector and you were built around Cipramundi, which is one of the biggest shipyards, right? That would be like an Imperial remnant situation from Star Wars, because you'd have a big chunk of military force, you'd have a big chunk of administrative support, you'd have a big chunk of resources. You'd be well positioned in a place like Cipramundi to be able to maintain some semblance of the Imperium. But if you're not one of those worlds, if you're just like some agri worlds, like I was telling her, that might be where Alexis says, "I am the new Emperor. She chose me. Trust me, bro. I have it written down right here. He chose me. I'm the new Emperor." Like, that could happen.
It's okay. I tossed a child into the river, and the child died 6 seconds after they were thrown in. Thus, I am the Emperor.
I am not heavier than a duck, therefore I'm the Emperor.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's
I dunked myself in water and I floated. I am the new Emperor.
So certain types of worlds actually would also be hive worlds would be either would be fine or would be in a really bad spot. Yeah. Agri worlds would either be fine or in a really bad spot.
It Forge really depends on their system.
Forge worlds would largely be fine.
Yeah, they're very much, they can survive on their own.
Shrine worlds would largely be fucked.
Yeah, they'd be gone.
Shrine worlds, pleasure worlds, death worlds would probably be that would be depending on the world, would just be a long on a long enough timeline, that world would be no longer populated by humans.
It would take a very long time for the Catachans.
The Catachans would hang on a long time.
I do love that there's a short story of them getting sucked into the Catachan itself, getting sucked into the warp and then getting spit back out, and there were more Catachans than when it went in.
I mean, fine. They're basically the Chuck Norris planet.
I do love the idea of 40K. If it didn't have the Emperor, I love the idea that each of the Primarchs would have split off and made their own factions, and some of them would have uneasy truces, but would hate others, so they'd fight them when they could. I don't know. I love it.
Serve another Great Horn Rat says, "Can we still call Ross American Andy?" Yes, you can.
That's a good one.
If you like, Andy's a personal hero of mine. I love that dude. So yeah.
And then
Ricky Chapman, 3377. The Blood Ravens and Trazen both fighting over the Emperor's thigh bone is like a turkey wishbone. Very funny.
Yep.
Yeah, I dig it.
Yep. Absolutely love it.
Server the Great Horn Rat says there are like two factions that don't benefit from the Imperium as a shield, as I see it: Tyranids and Necrons. That's pretty insightful, actually. I agree with that.
Yeah. I actually think the Necrons would become the Imperium's shield. Just strictly the Silent King's followers.
He does. He does seem disposed towards working with Imperial forces, because he also did a treaty with the Blood Angels, right? So
yep, he has one of the death masks of Sanguinius.
Yeah. So wow. Okay. So yeah. So possibly elements of the Necrons might work to support. Yep. Actually, you could really look at any faction and say there's parts of them that would be okay with it, and there's parts that would want to change it.
There's even at some level, maybe even Tyranids would protect them just because it's a food source. But that's very much a.
I don't think so.
No, probably not.
No, I don't.
Tyranids would just devour all life and then drift to the next galaxy.
But there will probably be some orcs and some Eldar who are like, you know what, that Imperium was actually kind of cool. We should try and help it. And there'd be some orcs and some Eldar who'd be like, the Imperium is gone, thank God. Now we don't have to worry about that anymore. There's very few unified groups. The Tau Empire is one of those few where it's like they have a pretty unified front. Even they have Farsight and his group over there.
They might. So would they be okay? Is the question here.
Like, are the Tau ever okay?
So they're right now. The reason that they exist in the lore at all is because the 500 worlds surround them. And surround sort of one side of them. Tyranids are attacking from the other side, and then they did eventually defeat, but they were being attacked by the Death Guard. They did eventually defeat the Death Guard. They did defeat the Tyranids.
They fought off the Imperium
fought off the Imperium
during the Damocles Gulf. They actually won that one.
Yeah, they've won almost all of their major wars. They lost a lot, but they won all of them.
Well.
Victory.
That would the Tau inherit the galaxy is the question I would like to ask. If the Emperor dies and the Imperium crumbles, which it would,
could the Tau develop technology? Could the Tau retro-engineer Necron technology is the big question. Could they weaponize Blackstone?
Well,
because the second they can weaponize Blackstone, demons no longer become a threat.
I think if we're talking about who could pick up the pieces, the Tau Empire have got a shot. Do they have a good shot?
No,
I don't think so. But is it a long shot? Is it a possibility? But it's kind of like a Hail Mary. Maybe, because the Tau would want to incorporate as much of humanity as they could. They would be like, hey, join us. Come to the greater good, and they would probably see some expansion. Almost certainly see some expansion. The only other contender would be Ultramar.
The Ultramarines. Yeah.
So a Tau Ultramar alliance of sorts would be like the one place you could maybe see that part of the galaxy sort of maintaining a.
I mean, they might even move some craft worlds there just to help as well.
Okay. Well, now we're
going into crazy territory.
We're going into, you know what? Let's do it.
That's what would need to happen.
If the Eldar could read the future, which they can.
Yeah.
And if the Eldar would sense the death of someone like the Emperor, which they probably would. And if there's a lot of ifs.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of ifs here.
And if Ultramar and the Tau Empire could be, could have at least frosty relations without open war, then you've got a nucleus around which a new civilization could be built.
Yeah. And this might actually get us the Star Trek future.
That would be one way to go.
Because Yvraine and her group, the Yanari, are softly allied with the Ultramarines. Now, they work together when they're called upon, but they do not like each other.
They've at least got a foot in the door.
Yeah.
They've at least got a foot in the door.
The Ultramarines have no, aside from wanting to destroy the Tau because they're Tau, the greater enemy takes precedent. So they're going to like look at the Tau and just be like, And then you got the Leagues of Votann who are just sort of there.
The Leagues of Votann could be a part of it. I like Servant of the Horn Rat says, you know what? This whole stream will be stopped by a coalition of Cato Sicarius, Drago, and the one and only Sly Marbo. That would be one hell of a combo, my friend.
You have to throw in the guy from Bolt Gun into there, and then you and that new crazy Sister of Battle who's taking on entire legions, the entire Black Legion by herself.
I love the idea. There are some. I mean, that guy's got a good point. There are some heroes left.
But I really think that that's where the new empire would grow from.
So here's one that goes back a little bit. From Victor. Hi, Victor. Going back to the Eleanor death, could Malkador hold the Imperium together since he was named Regent Terra? Yes.
Yeah.
Malkador could. Okay. The answer is kind of. Does Malkador have the authority and the power? Yes, he does. But he's still lacking the Astronomicon, and he can't power it himself. We know that.
He tried. It didn't work.
He could hold a portion of the Imperium together. I don't think he'd be able to hold together the whole thing like the Emperor could, but certainly you could, if you want to talk about nucleuses of rebirth, Malkador would be that one leader, and especially if the Primarchs support him after Eleanor. If Malkador could get the support of the Primarchs, which we know that we know Guilliman did. Lorgar, not a big fan of Malkador.
Well, this is assuming, like, if Lorgar doesn't like Malkador, but if the Emperor dies and he was proven like, hey, your god died,
listen,
might just be like, okay, maybe we were wrong. Oopsie daisy, our bad.
It's possible. It's possible that Malkador could get the respect and assistance and support of the Primarchs. Would all of them support Malkador? That's where I kind of like, maybe not all of them. I think a good chunk would. Let's put it that way. I think enough would. Michael Solomon 8315 says, important. Golden Throne killed Malkador trying to close Webgate, flooded with demons. No Chaos Rift in Webway requires far less power to keep Astronomicon going. Okay.
So the demons
he's
would
correct.
Still go in.
Well, I think he's saying that it would be easier to keep the Astronomicon going if you didn't have to deal with the Webway being full of demons as well. Granted, I will stipulate to that. But I also think that it's pretty obvious that Malkador could not run the Astronomicon long term. It just wouldn't work.
My question is, so at what point does the war in the Webway happen?
Oh, well, that happens when Magnus goes to warn the Emperor about Horus.
Yeah. So that already happened. So the demons have already flooded there.
Well, that war went on a long time. The war in the Webway lasted until it was.
Because we know Dracnion was there, which is really cool. Because Dracnion is a demon of Undivided, and I like him.
It was basically lasted for, good grief.
Well, like almost 100 years? No. How long did the heresy take place? It took like
9 years. 9 years.
Yeah, 9 years.
Yeah. So
because the Great Crusade is like 300, right?
Give or take. Yeah. There's kind of
timey-wimey stuff.
Right. What is that called? The War Within the Webway. That's why I'm not finding it. Okay. War Within the Webway took that was 10 years of battle. That lasted 10 years.
Yeah, because that happened before Horus.
Wow.
That happened when Horus turned traitor.
So yeah, it's kind of still going on.
Yeah.
If we're talking about Siege of Terra, it's kind of still going on.
And then he followed this up with this. I figured we should.
Emp's dying at Olenor, no Magnus doing nothing wrong. Yeah. Well, Magnus would be the guy that could potentially power the throne. And if Malcador gets the support, like I said, if Malcador gets the support of the Primarchs, putting Magnus on the Golden Throne, and then you might have a Astronomican replacement.
Yep.
That might work. That might actually work.
I think that would be the best case scenario.
Agreed. Best. Oh, and Kurz is a good boy. That's the best case.
Yep, we did it. And Fulgrim doesn't pick up the Lair Blade. We solved it.
Yeah, solved it. Yeah, we fixed it, everybody. Don't worry.
We saved everything. It's still crumbling and everything's destroyed. Yep, saved.
So here, I have a question for you, Alexis.
Yes.
Post Era Indomitus, Emperor dies. What do the Leagues of Votann do?
So they, unfortunately, I feel like they don't really do much, but they are trading with the Tau. So I think that they talk to their kin. They go through, their giant supercomputer AI thing. They communicate to all of the Votannians, because I refuse to call them anything else except for Votannians. They give their technology for warp travel, which does not use the Astronomicon. That's important to know. They give that technology to the Ultramarines, or they use the Kroot War Spheres warp travel to navigate. Because the Kroot can navigate the warp, and so can the Votann. The Tau can sort of do it, but they skim through the warp.
Yeah, they use that short distance stuff we were talking about. That's one of the reasons why the Tau expansions have been limited, is because they can only go so far.
Well, the newest one, they decided to take the Votann up on their thing, and then they traveled through the webway, and then they were like,
Didn't work out
the Guller fields up, right? What the hell is a Guller field? They keep demons away. What the hell is a demon? That thing?
Yeah, it didn't work out so well for the last sphere, but yeah. So Votann, that's interesting. And we've talked about Votann. Talk about Tau.
I think the Votann, what they do first is so around their sector that is going to now be protected. So we have the Great Alliance. Let's just call it that, because it's the Fantastic Alliance, whichever you want to call it.
The Great Alliance works for me. Great Alliance.
Well, fantastic, because there's 4 of them. But anyway,
you are
the Great Alliance. Yes, the Great Alliance would now have to keep the Tyranids away is the biggest thing. So they would have to destroy multiple worlds around them, so that the Tyranids just don't see a need to go through it.
The Cryptman defense.
Yeah, so it would keep a good chunk of the Tyranids away. They would still have to deal with Hive Fleet. I think it's Behemoth that attacked Ultramar. So they would have to deal with that, but they would put the Tau on that, because the Tau have already beaten them. So
3-way alliance: Votann, Tau, Ultramarines is what.
Well, it would also have Yvrane's crew in there too.
Inari, so 4 or Eldar in general. So 4-way alliance saves the day is the outcome.
Yeah, I think that's the best case scenario, and then we get a very Star Trek like future. Like once the Tau, because the Tau are the hope of the universe. They are the ones that can retro-engineer all the technology.
I like this one. How does Votann work like that? Also, Super BFFs Alliance.
Yep, Super BFFs Alliance. The Votann currently work however they choose them to work, but we know that the different kins all talk to each other somehow. So I will say that I am assuming it's through their massive supercomputer ancestor engine thing. I will admit I have not read the new Votann book. I only read the Votann Codex.
So I think, to be clear, we're talking about rolling a natural 20 for saving the setting somehow.
Whoa. We are playing heresy in this house. We've rolled the hundreds. This is the 1.
Okay, natural 1.
I burn all of my fate points to do this.
Fair enough. But we're talking about the extremely unlikely but very satisfying ending, right? This is we're aiming for the this is my this is my warm ending where I'm like, okay, not everything is gone. The setting I love can remain. We can do stuff with it. We just have to push it in this direction. I like wish casting like this. I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Do I think it's likely? Do I think this is what would actually happen? No, this is not what would probably actually happen. But it sure is. It's the most interesting thing to think. It's the most interesting outcome that we could come up with right now. So that's why I'm digging it.
Now, I will point this out. This is so unlikely to happen because last time the Tau and the Ultramarines had peace talks, and keep in mind, the Ultramarines are the closest ones to being rational. Cato Sicarius knocked over a woman and crushed her skull. And then killed children. So, they're not exactly nice people.
Cato Sicarius is a bit of a meme, isn't he?
Yeah, kind of. I do like that GW didn't know how to make Captain Titus of the Second Company, because originally the game wasn't canon, and they were just like, yeah, that's fine. This is good. But then they were like, oh, actually, he was a previous captain, and then Cato took over, and now that he's back, he's a lieutenant, and then Cato Sicarius gets put up to the Victor's Guard. Acheron takes over. Acheron dies. Captain Titus.
I should mention that we have a show coming up where we answer the question, who is Captain Titus? And we're going to do a full deep dive on him. And
I have to find one of the rarest books in my collection. It is the official manual of Space Marine 1.
I have the collector's edition upstairs with all the artwork and stuff, and it's pretty great.
Nice.
But that's not about the Emperor dying, is it?
No.
It's not about the Emperor dying. What are some things that we haven't talked about with regards to the Emperor dying? We've talked about the Imperium.
Let's see. With the Astronomicon off, the Tyranids might not push all the way into the galaxy, but they already got a taste for what's in the galaxy, so they're just coming no matter what.
I don't see the Tyranids backing off.
There's no reason for them to.
And I don't see Chaos backing off. In fact, I see Chaos growing stronger in the wake of, even if the Emperor is reborn, even if the Thorians are correct and he's just waiting for a moment to return, the Star Child and the Sensei and all that. Even if that's true, I think Chaos would gain a lot of power.
We talked about the Emperor coming back as a more spiritual being that isn't the Emperor but is the Emperor, because it's the rebirth of the Emperors as a warp consciousness.
The psychic awakening theory, yeah. So for anybody who doesn't know, in the psychic awakening, the Tau encounter a being that's kind of like a god in the warp that says it's the greater good. It's a manifestation of the belief. It
has three heads that are all together.
It's very strange. And it appears to have been born from the beliefs of the auxiliary species that the Tau incorporate into their empire, not the Tau themselves. And so the Tau themselves were like, oh my God, what is that thing? But if that's true, if that is something that can happen, Alexis was saying, then maybe the Emperor, which is not actually the Emperor, would emerge in a similar fashion from the warp based on all the belief for him. So there might actually be some sort of spiritual, psychic, or faith-based being reborn in a way.
Yep.
Even if it isn't actually the Emperor, but is instead a manifestation of the beliefs of the people in the warp. It gets weird. 40K gets weird, guys.
Yes, it does.
Stay on board with us.
Yeah, it's a very weird setting, and we both love it very much. All right, what do we got? So far we talked about only the Empress dying, no god creation whatsoever. Oh, I think we did talk about a god creation just now.
God, chaos does not happen to communicate itself to infighting when it perceives as being one. It's true. Also the orcs. I'll see also orcs. That's So in a dead emperor situation, we talked about cloning. We talked about Fabius Bile might be convinced to come in and try and clone the emperor.
Your brain might try to revive him.
I think it is fair to say. I think it would be accurate that every potential aspect of figuring out some kind of replacement or rebirth would be tried. I think they'd try everything, assuming the Custodes would let them, get in there.
Yeah. That is a big if, because the custodians are not going to let them. There's going to be.
They're not just going to let anybody walk in. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how to. Also, how come this is just a completely different question? But how come Gilliman never talked to Celestine? She was there.
He was probably very weirded out by her. I know I would be.
Like.
Gilliman went to sleep in an era where religion was not a thing. And he woke up and a living saint is like, "Are you okay, buddy?" And he's like, "What the actual fuck?" Like, yeah, I think he's probably a little weirded out.
She knows that Celestine died and came back and saw her in a separate battle. I mean, you would think at one point he would just be like, "Okay, maybe something, some weird's happening here."
So remember, there's a couple things you need to know about Gilliman. He's a creature of logic. Okay.
Yeah.
Gilliman believes in theoreticals and practicals. He believes in logic. He believes in the central tenets of the original Imperial Creed, which was, their supernatural things don't exist. It's all superstition, and the actual universe is what you really need to focus on. So, we will talk. Michael Simon, I will get to that in just a second. Let me finish my thought here. Gilliman is the last person who would look on a living saint and go, "Yeah, that makes sense." He'd be like, "No, wait a minute, wait. This cannot be right."
When he literally saw a miracle happen in front of him, he was just like, "Nuh-uh."
So that's why. But please bring that comment back up from.
Okay.
So Michael Solomon says, "How come we haven't talked about the Dark King prophecy? Amps is destined to become Dark King at some point." Well, so this is. So for people who don't know, the Dark King is the idea that the Emperor could, if he made certain decisions, become a fifth chaos god, become a warp-based entity, not unlike Korn, Slanesh, Nurgle, etc. This is something that was written in the End of the Death novels by Dan Abnett as part of the Horus Heresy novel series. It's unclear to me whether that is fact destined or hope destined or a potential future. It had never seemed to me like it was set in stone as this is absolutely going to happen. And just so you know, on Lorebeards 40K, when we talk about what events in novels are not always canon. They're stories. They're things that
we're gonna do a whole episode on what is and isn't canon.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that. So if it happened in a novel, I'm automatically gonna assign it a slightly lower level of authenticity. It's cool. It's a really neat idea. But is it written in stone? From my reading, it's not written in stone. It was a possibility. It was a potential outcome.
Wasn't this just an Eldar philosophy? Like a prediction?
To me, it's unclear about whether it's unclear how much faith and weight and gravitas you should add to this Dark King prophecy. But it's interesting. And I think where I would take this idea, Michael Solomon, is Misha. Am I pronouncing this correctly? I'm so sorry if I'm not. I'm doing my best here. Mr. or Mrs. Solomon, whoever you are, 8315. I think what you're saying is, if the Emperor died, could he then achieve or ascend to the status of Dark King? Now that we have been talking about best case scenarios, right?
Is that the best case scenario?
No, I think that the Emperor becoming Dark King is maybe the worst case scenario.
Yeah,
because it's the Emperor, as we have previously mentioned, is profoundly flawed. He is not would I want the Emperor to be an actual chaos god with all the powers and stuff like that? To me, that sounds like a really bad idea. That sounds like a very, very bad idea, at least for humanity. But but could it happen? Could that be an outcome of the Emperor dying? And this is where I think this comment's very interesting. Yes, one of the potential outcomes one of the possibilities for the Emperor dying is that he actually sheds his mortal presence,
mortality,
sheds his mortality in general, and ascends and becomes a being of the warp, like the Chaos Gods. And in those circumstances, it's difficult for me to predict what would happen next. Like, I have no fucking clue. It could be anything.
Now imagine all of this because the Emperor would not listen to his wife.
Well, it's more complicated than that. Michael Simon says Samus is the herald of their king, and he was born of Loken's death. Well, was he? Because Samus was around before Loken died. But anyway,
that's the whole thing with demons, where they always existed even before their own birth.
And he was born of Loken's death. So proto-demons of Dark King are a thing, according to the demons. I'm not sure I would put a lot of faith in Samus when he said something to me.
I mean, he did tell you he's here.
You're doing great, he says. My friends call me Mick. Some prefer Miha. Miha is something I can pronounce.
I like Miha.
Miha Solomon, thank you. Appreciate the support there, and I do appreciate the backup of the name, because I felt horrible trying to pronounce it. I'm like, oh my god, I'm a terrible person. Server the Great Horn Rat. Oh gods, he's going to be 40k Hashut, god of tyranny and industry. Not far off.
I love the idea of the Emperor being the anathema, the complete opposite of the Chaos Gods and Chaos Pantheon. I've always loved that of him, and I like the idea that he's just the god of bad decisions.
Well, we're probably gonna do a whole episode on just the Emperor. We should.
Yes.
Do a whole episode.
Yeah, we definitely should.
And one thing that the Emperor, and I've said this before, but one thing that's really important to remember about the Emperor, he does not think in terms like a human. He doesn't think of a year in advance or 10 years in advance. He's looking at thousands of years in the future and building towards some goal that we can never see.
Yep. While you're sitting there playing chess, he is the pigeon on the board.
Well, he's playing a very different game. He's playing chess while we're all playing checkers. But the so order through tyranny, yes. I mean, that's how he's been presented. Yes, and I agree. To have a being with that kind of alien mindset as a god, as an actual, like, capital G god, yes, shaping events from the warp as opposed to trying to do it the way he was doing it before. It frightens me. It literally, like, causes me to clench my chest a little bit, because I'm like, oh, I don't feel like that would be a good thing. But I gotta
post one really great.
God of deadbeat deaths. Profoundly flawed. The Emperor is profoundly flawed.
Oh god, that's so good.
Mike, like microphone. Thank you. But for 40k Lorebeards, I am Miha now. Yes, welcome Miha. You are part of our tribe. The Emperor is pretty much a god pretending to be a human, says Miha. Nope, different person.
Nope, that's a different one.
I'm sorry. Michael Texera says the Emperor is pretty much a god pretending to be human. That's one of the big tragedies of the Horus Heresy, was that Lorgar was actually right. I mean, if it walks like a god, talks like a god, and acts like a god, how is it not a god? Even if the god says, I'm not a god, you can't look at the Emperor and think that's just a man. He's not.
So there is a conversation that Gilliman had with a custodian, and this was one of the Black Guardians, one of the ones that actually stands next to the Emperor.
Yeah.
And their armor is just black from all of it. And the thing that he says is, Gilliman asks, is the Emperor a god? And he's asking, like, multiple beings this. He even asks his Eldar avatar, his Eldar advisor this question. But the custodian answers with, God and godlike are a fine line that I can't really tell the difference of. I'm misquoting it, but basically he says, that's what is God and what is godlike is meaningless.
Yeah, and that's kind of one of the tragedies of the heresy era, is that Lorgar was technically correct. Like, I do think you can't look at someone like the Emperor, who can do the things the Emperor does, and think he's not divine in some way.
A 12-foot tall divine being who can build stuff using their mind, calls his most trusted servants angels, and is surrounded by 8-foot tall golden men.
I mean, we talked about the Astronomicon earlier. The fact that he was able to make it work from Alinor.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Insanely powerful psyker. So so could he become a god?
Also,
yes. Is he already a god? Maybe. We're not sure.
Also, he's in multiple realms at the same time.
Well,
he's in the forest, he's in the warp, and he's in reality.
So when you talk about the warp and you talk about psychic powers, which are connected to the warp,
yeah,
the Emperor is a being that doesn't seem to live in the warp. Like everything we know about the Emperor is that he kind of sees the warp as
physical. We know that.
So he doesn't. Does he exist in the warp through his power, his psychic energy? Yes, we know that's true because that's the Astronomicon.
Yep.
So part of him is in both worlds,
and then the forest, which is whatever the heck it is.
In my opinion, it is a piece of the warp.
I always assumed it was what Celestine was actually in, because in the books for Celestine, there is the beam of the Astronomicon, and within that beam is the realm of the Emperor. And that's where she goes and does her trials and then comes back. I assume the forest is also in that realm. But I could be completely wrong.
So we know how to, I now have a shorthand for this person as well. Tex says that's why he could never relate with humans, because basically he was never just a human. True. P.S. You can call me Tex if you want. It's easier. Another P.S. You're doing great, guys. I'm having fun here.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate that. The support means a lot, guys. Since this is our second show,
does.
We're still not sure that we know what we're doing yet.
No, we're just sitting here having fun, talking about lore and getting confused.
Well, I've spent over 20 years working with Warhammer as an IP. I love it. I love every aspect of it. I love that it's dark and weird and grim. I love that it's kind of fascist. I love that I don't love fascism, but I love.
You heard it here. Quote that.
I love that you can see it as a lens to look at fascism. I love that it's so complex and full of all these really fascinating characters.
I also love that it's just funny and doesn't take itself too seriously at times.
Well, yeah, there's definitely silly stuff in this setting, and I love that.
As certain characters are, there is an orc putting a bucket on his head and being completely immune to psychic powers.
Miha says 20 years of working with Warhammer, still confused about it. God, I love this franchise. Yep. Yeah, welcome to Warhammer. Welcome to Warhammer 40,000. So Warhammer 40,000, it's important to point out the Emperor originally was, well, this gets into the legend of the Star Child and the Sensei and the shamans. And I have been
Dune's lore.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. It was built. Yeah, we've talked about this before. Dune is a major brick in the foundation of Warhammer 40K. So the Emperor is, God damn it, I got a quote here. I love that it's fascist. Y'all are I'm never gonna live that down. That's great. No, but seriously, the Emperor as a being has always been at the center of the IP. He's only become more so over time. Even in the original Rogue Trader, the Emperor is the central feature around which everything is built. In second edition, that becomes even stronger. Andy Chambers, the Overfiend, comes along and really redefines 40K as the grimdark setting that we know it today. And so what I'm saying is that this is a journey that the setting has been on a very, very long time. And the sun around which 40K tends to orbit is the Emperor. So pulling that out of the middle, it is the biggest lever you can pull in the setting. There is no stronger change you can make to what 40K is.
Have you noticed that ever since Rogue Trader, the Emperor has been slowly rotting more and more as each edition goes by?
Yeah,
I always loved the little subtext of that, of just in Rogue Trader, he's actually has his skin, his eye, and flesh on his face. And then third edition, they have him souped up to the machine, but his arms are still connected, if you notice. And then fourth and fifth edition, his arm has fallen off. His sword is on his lap now. And then sixth and seventh edition show him as the skeleton. I also love that the Emperor's cybernetics are never brought up.
Well, everyone in 40K has bionics. Basically,
yeah, but he has a bionic eye that is never shown in any of his actual like physical lore.
Well, again, so some of this artwork is from John Blanche. Okay, now John Blanche is one of the biggest names when it comes to like defining 40K. His artwork defined 40K. When we think of 40K, when we think of what the aesthetic, the visuals, it's almost always based on something Blanche drew. And Blanche is the one who drew the Emperor with the cybernetic eye, which it's interesting that you caught that. I like that.
He has multiple cybernetics if you actually look at him, and I can name all of them. I love them.
Well, so my question to you, Alexis, did he have those before he got interred on the chair?
So if we go based on the lore from Rogue Trader, that eye is still actually there. And then in the next book, he has a cybernetic eye. So I have a whole theory that they've been trying to repair him. But I don't think he actually had the bionic eye. Oh, wait, I did want to get that question really quickly. This one, the Emperor isn't just a character anymore. He's pretty much the ultimate Deus Ex Machina. This comes up and is, in my opinion, one of the best and worst things. I love this in Plague Wars. When Guilliman actually dies in Plague Wars, spoilers, and gets resurrected because he's a main character and has plot armor. When Mortarion sees the Emperor and he's just like, Dad? And then Nurgle is just like, you weren't supposed to do it. I didn't expect you to succeed. No one did. And then the Emperor steps foot on the planet and it burns Nurgle's garden on his demon world and his physical world simultaneously. And it's an amazing scene. I absolutely love the Emperor as a Deus Ex Machina, but I also get it. And it's super frustrating.
Well, this is the thing I think that when we talk about the Emperor as his role, right? His role in the narrative.
It's a divine protector.
Well, it's also a mystery. The Emperor is a mystery that we like to untangle. We're picking at threads just talking about what it would be like without him, right? We're picking at threads when we talk about how other people see him, the perspectives of the enemies and the allies and the children, the Primarchs that knew him personally, right? As opposed to the people that have never seen him or heard of him outside of the ecclesiarchy. So he's a mystery. He's an enigma. He's a father figure, but he's also a visionary. He's a tyrant, but he's also a futurist. He cares about humanity, but he also doesn't seem to care about humanity. And that's the most fascinating thing about the Emperor is we want to know more. We always want to know more.
My favorite thing is when he talked to Guilliman and there was that 1,000 different lines of text all at once. And the one that Guilliman harped on was that he was a tool. And he was like, damn it. But the one that I really liked, he was just like my perfect son. Like, I love that the Emperor actually cared about Guilliman. I love that there are little moments when the Emperor cares about them. Like when he starts referring to the Primarchs as his sons. He doesn't have to. And it's a choice that he made and he starts doing on his own. And I like that, but I also love that he's just like, no, they're just tools to be used and discarded when I don't need them.
See, both of these things can be true.
Exactly.
A part of him could be a caring father. A part of him could be a calculating monster. Maybe, and the truth is probably somewhere in between. I lean on the judge them by their actions, not their words.
Yeah.
And if you judge the Emperor on his actions, he's pretty bad. He is definitely a tyrant. He's definitely... all he cares about is the end. The end justifies the means. Does he care about humanity? His actions suggest that he does. Without him, with him gone, and to be clear, he's been gone in all but name for a very, very long time. For 10,000 years, he has just been this guy on a chair. Like he hasn't been out. He hasn't been out making speeches. He hasn't been out making laws. He hasn't been out setting things in motion.
Nowadays, we got occasional glimpses of his power manifesting as a child, which is kind of weird. Also, this super chat has been sitting here a while. I apologize for not getting to it right away. I was kind of hoping that more would pile up so we'd have a few, but this one's been sitting for a bit, so let's answer this one.
All right. Pusayo says, thank you, by the way. I like the idea that the Voton supercomputer is an STC with too many tabs open.
It's just Google Chrome with too many tabs, so it's like freaking out.
I use Google Chrome. I use a lot of tabs. So this is very personal for me. I see that.
As it currently stands, I have 3 open on this side and 10 open on this side. My computer is not happy.
So I think if I was going to leave you guys with a thought about what if the Emperor died, I think the thought I would want to leave you with is it's a tragedy in that it means death on a level, death and despair and suffering on a level that we can't possibly imagine. But I want to be clear. The death of the Emperor doesn't necessarily mean that things can't get better. And it could, in fact, be the catalyst, as we've talked about, for some
new system.
For change. If the Emperor's death could change even Conrad Kurz's dark heart, then it could change a lot more than that. And I think we talked about like some of the ways that the Emperor's death could lead to some really interesting and fascinating choices. But I hope that we don't have to deal with that anytime soon. I kind of like 40K where it is. I like the Emperor as the distant figure that is a corpse on a throne. Like that's he's been that way for me for 30 years. So I'm kind of like, I don't want that to change. But if it needed to shift in some way, I think Games Workshop has left themselves plenty of options to make it interesting, to make it fun, to maybe even steer the ship in a slightly different direction. Who knows? But
I fully agree with this.
Go ahead, Alexis. What are your final thoughts on death of the Emperor?
My final thoughts on the death of the Emperor. Maybe he should have listened to Erda. She was correct. But I did just read this. I did just read this one. I think there could be a rise of a new character to take his place as a spiritual leader. I think things like the Golden Throne going out and the development of new technology might push the Imperium, well, not the Imperium, but the super best friends into the future. And there might be like, if GW ever does this, which they won't, but if they ever do, it could be a whole new setting with brand new books and so much cool lore. Like I would love to see the Tau going into the future because I'm one of the few and crazy people that actually like the Tau. I think they're actually really cool and fit the setting better than the Eldar, but that's a whole nother thing that I will not get into right now. But I do think that if new characters were to arise to take its place, one would have to be Erda. I honestly think her coming back as a redemption arc would be really cool. But overall, I think if the Emperor were to die, the game as we know it would just be gone.
So this comment from Tex is a really interesting point. Real question is, will Games Workshop ever let the Emperor die?
No.
I'm gonna say not likely. But here's the thing: I never thought they'd tear the galaxy in half. I never thought they'd bring back Rute Gilliman. I was like, whoa! When the Era Indomitus began, I was completely floored. So
I do like that Gilliman coming back. His first instinct was he just woke up, was completely naked, and was just like, all right, we throwing hands, and just started killing Black Legionnaires.
Well, the last thing he saw before he went to stasis was Fulgrim cutting his damn throat. So
yep.
Anyway, so we have beat the subject pretty deep into the ground. The Emperor dying would be bad, but also possibly good. That's kind of what it boils down to.
I do like how we view it as a positive, and we focused on the positives of it.
Trying to.
Oh, and Conrad Kurz comes back from the dead because why not? And he's a good boy. He comes back like Sir Pentious. I'm a good boy now.
Oh, Professor Schapp points out, he says, honestly, I never thought Loyalist Primarchs would be coming back. Back in the day, I thought the Phoenix Lords gathering would have been a big thing like the Primarchs return. The Rana Dondra, the final battle of the Eldar Phoenix Lords. Yes, I Honestly, if the Emperor died,
that.
If the Emperor died, that's what I imagine would happen next. It would be the Phoenix Lords would gather and be like, okay, it's time. We're kicking this thing off. We're going out with a bang.
Oh, hey, Russ might come back. It's the end times.
I mean, it might. That to me, that would kind of be a potential herald for a
the Wolf time
Warhammer. You know, if they were ever to bring 40K to a close like they did with the old world, who knows?
Oh, yeah, they should do it in like 7 books that are released consecutively that aren't written very well, and everyone complains about them. And it just immediately sets off with a whole new game setting that no one likes because everything exploded.
I'm not advocating for this. I want to be very clear. I am not advocating for this.
But Ross, we need you to write 10 books about every single character in under a year.
No. So this idea, I mean, Tex has another good one here. Says it's fun because there's almost infinite possibilities. Yes. That's why this show is actually really exciting. And I was, before we even started, Alexis and I were talking, and I'm like, man, I can't wait to get into this.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
This was good.
She's cooking. Tex says she's cooking. She's cooking.
Oh, whoops. I clicked it. Sorry.
All right. So this has been our first What If episode. Please stick around with us because we're going to do our schedule right now is we're going to do Saturdays. We're going to cover kind of like the big lore stuff. And then the Wednesdays, we're going to do like the what ifs and the tier lists and maybe bring some guests on. We've got a lot of really cool plans. I have a Google Doc that's like 4 pages deep of
He
topics.
has all the plans. I don't. I wing it.
Well, Alexis is great. I am so glad to have her as a co-pilot on this ship. And we're gonna do some really fun stuff with this. So I'm really glad that you stuck around with us for our second show. And keep the faith. We're gonna do some really good topics.
This I'm excited for because okay. So if you guys don't know, all right, and listen carefully, I play a lot of the tabletop game. Now, when I say we're building a Space Marine chapter, there is a good chance that I build this actual Space Marine chapter with miniatures and put your nameplates on it.
Okay, guys, you heard it here. So what we're doing for our next Wednesday?
But not next Wednesday. Oh my God, I cannot afford that right now.
Okay,
but in the future.
In the future, one of these Wednesdays coming up soon is one of our topics is let's build a Space Marine chapter, and you guys are going to do it with us. We're not going to do it alone. We're going to have chat. Going to be involved. So keep that in mind. It's
going to be after that, and I'm going to be showing them off during future streams of people who have, done super chats and have helped out the channel quite a bit. It's going to be super fun, and I'm a pretty decent painter. Like right now, I'm currently painting up a couple of Screamer Killer Carnifexes for my buddies, and I am so looking for, or the Chaos Warband. I want to do it with the Chaos Warband too, because the Chaos Warband has some really cool stuff, and I actually have a bunch of Chaos models that I haven't done anything with it. I could keep going with this. I love having an excuse to buy more miniatures. Right, Victor? We need more miniatures?
Okay. No. So before we go, we should tell you where you can find us if you want to see more of what we do. Alexis, why don't you tell them where they can find you on the internet?
So I am known as Norn Queen Alexis. You can find me under all things under Norn Queen Alexis. I do some YouTubing occasionally. I promise I plan to bring it back. I want to do more and show off some of my other cool hobbies, like my Viking stuff. But I want to bring back my channel and do more with it. And I also am starting to get a little bit more active on Instagram. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Oh, and Blue Sky.
Yeah, you can find me on Blue Sky. I am Ross Watson on Blue Sky. I also have a Patreon. And it is not my project, but my friend Mike Lafferty is doing a really cool book for the holiday seasons for tabletop role-playing games. If you would like to check out Cocaine Owlbear, the Christmas special, I will post the link into the chat right now. I think I can.
Just remember, only post the link, because if you post anything else, the link breaks.
That did not work.
Nope.
Okay. Wait. Can you post it for me, Alexis? I don't know how to.
That's a StreamYard link.
Yeah, I didn't get that right. I'm sorry.
Hang on. Send it to me privately real quick. We got this.
Yeah.
We are professionals.
Okay, so I'm sending it to you now. There you go.
Okay.
It's on Backer. It's on BackerKit. That's how I know it's not the right link.
Okay, and then if I post this here, does this work?
There you go. Yep. It looks like it looks like it's in there.
I might need to retry this. Am I good at this? I'm so bad at this.
Does that link work, guys? Let us know if it does or not, because we can't. Inside StreamYard, I'm not sure if it does. Yeah, we're still learning. It works on YouTube. Awesome.
That's good enough.
Good enough for me. So with that, thank you guys very much for hanging with us. Lorebeards 40K. We are going to dive into some really cool stuff coming up in the future. I personally am excited about all the Horse Heresy content. We're going to talk about all the Primarchs. We're going to talk about the Emperor. We're going to talk about Malkador. We're going to talk about all that stuff. Alexis is really interested in talking about Sisters Battle and St. Celestine and faith in general, along with Space Wolves, I'm pretty sure, right?
I play Space Wolves. I love my space dinosaurs because mine are on dinosaurs, but I don't know their lore too much.
Well, then we should fix that. We should do an episode. We should do an episode on the Space Wolves because I am a huge Space Wolves fan, and I can't wait to talk about the 13th Great Company.
Yes,
it's gonna be rad.
Yes.
But we're gonna talk about basically everything. Anything's on the table. If you guys have a cool idea, if you have a thought of something you'd really like to see, don't hesitate. Drop it in the comments. Come over to our Discord. And we've got channels in there where you can put your suggestions up and say, I'd like you to cover this. I'd like you to cover that. And we will take a look. And, who knows? Maybe your idea will fire us up.
Also.
Yeah, we are part of the Lorebeards Discord with Andy and Ryan, and we're really excited to
I actually comment in there quite a bit. So if you just type in random 40K stuff, you can.
Here's a good one. What if the Necrons woke up early?
Oh, that's a good one.
Necrons in the Great Crusade would have been
horrifying,
wild, absolutely wild. That would have put a serious roadblock for the Great Crusade.
Add that to the list.
All right, that one's getting added to the list. Tex says, "Hey, thank you, love fantasy, but also love 40K. It's so cool to have you here. Appreciate you guys.
Yes, thank you so much."
So,
with that, are we good here?
Well, we still got just a few more minutes. So, did you want to? Cover any? Is there anything you'd like to talk about or forecast for the future? Other than this, build Space Marine chapter is pretty cool. Let's be honest.
I think building the Space Marine chapter, building a Chaos Warband, building a kill team of orcs would be kind of fun.
I've got the book Second Founding, which is First Founding, which has a really great chart that we can use to build the Space Marine chapter using.
Yep.
I'm not sure. I have to investigate, but does Black Crusade, the role-playing game, have a Chaos Warband thing like that?
Sort of. It's not that great. I actually like using the Space Marine builder to build a Chaos Warband because all you have to do is just switch a few things and boom, you got it. A Rogue Trader Dynasty would be cool.
Rogue Trader Dynasty, we have all the tools for that.
Yeah,
we have all the tools for that. And I am literally the guy who wrote the book on Rogue Traders, so I would love to do a Rogue Trader Dynasty. Rogue Traders would actually be, in the event of the Emperor dying, Rogue Traders might be the last ones to know.
Oh, yeah, because that's so far out in the galaxy.
Yeah, they might be like, did something happen? Wait, what's going on? And the next time they go back to Imperial space, they'd be like, oh.
Does this still work?
Yeah.
We could do a Build a Guard regiment. There's actually a really good one in the books for that, or in the role-playing books.
Well, there's so many. Okay, so I'm a fan of Cadians. Love Cadians. Love Gaunt's Ghosts. Love the Tanith. The Elysian Drop Troopers are really cool.
I wish GW would bring them back. I absolutely love the Elysians.
There's regiments we haven't heard of in a very, very long time, like the Praetorians.
The Chem Dogs.
The Salvar
Chem Dogs.
Those guys. Yeah.
I love them so much.
They're in the Minkalesk books, the novels about Minkalesk. She runs into some of them and they're cool. I love the idea of it. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm wrong. Those are the Drukian Fen Troopers. She runs into the Fen Troopers.
I just love me some
sorry.
I love the idea that a Chaos Space Marine breaks into a room and then six just dudes hyped on like every drug imaginable just rip them apart, and they're just like, "What the hell happened?" And then those 6 dudes explode.
Maccabian Janissaries, we do need. I was there for their creation, so we need to talk about the Maccabian Janissaries. All right, guys, that is our show. Thank you very much, and we will see you in a few days and or next week. So
yeah, love you guys. Bye.
I'm hitting the end stream button. Ryan, Andy, I'm hitting the button. I am